WCW Halloween Havoc 1997. An absolute all-star card with one of the greatest matches of all time. And yet, somehow, after watching this entire pay-per-view, I came out flaccid. It's just classic WCW. The really good stuff's really good. The really bad stuff is really bad. But this show is very monumental for a variety of reasons. Like I said, we have a legendary match for the Cruiserweight Championship. We have the pay-per-view debut of Goldberg. And we also have the last time on pay-per-view we will ever see Macho Man's original knees. Strap in. It's time for the Apron Bump Podcast.
It's the hardest. Talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock this. Let's get it started.
What's up, everybody? Howdy. Howdy, howdy. Welcome to the Apron Bump Podcast. I, of course, am your host, the hardest part of the ring, Kyle. As we approach Christmas of 2025, I am supplying you people with what you are yearning for. That's right, a Halloween episode. Halloween Havoc 1997. Boy, howdy, am I excited to get into this. This is going to be a long episode, so we won't hang out here too long before we get into the meat and potatoes of this episode. But just wanted to lay it out here. We got a big-time WCW show here in late 97. Speaking of the year of 1997, make sure you stay tuned to the end of the episode where the hardest promotion battle of 1997 continues, where we pit WWF versus WCW versus ECW. We are going to have maybe, I haven't decided yet, but there are potentially some major changes to the scoreboard coming out of this episode. Perhaps. But again, you'll just have to tune in and see. As of right now, WWF is in last place with 9 points. ECW in second with 20 points. WCW in the lead with 29 points. Will they maintain that lead? It's, again, a lot of hot, a lot of cold on this pay-per-view. So it's a very volatile paper. A lot going on. Some shows I cover is like, oh, this is a fine show, and not a lot monumental happened. But man, there is just so much shit to get into on this episode, which is why I think we'll get right into it. And you might be noticing this on a new camera, a temporary camera. I'm using my iPhone here just for this intro. We'll get into the real stuff when we get into the actual episode. But I only mention that in case you're startled watching on YouTube at a new angle. If you're listening on audio, I have the camera set up at my feet pointing up, so you get a really good shot. Is that how you drive YouTube viewership? I don't know. But Daddy will have a new cam in the new year. By the way, speaking of which, this will be the last episode of 2025, as you know, we got Christmas Eve, New Year's coming up. So we're going to take a week break, coming back strong in the new year. And I'm very, very excited. So just a quick programming note there. And speaking of programming, I'm going to program my lips on this guy's cheek, Ryan from the Count Out Podcast. Returning to the show, always a good old time with my boy Ryan. Go check out the Count Out Podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Go check out the Patreon as well. I'll put all of his socials in the description below. He does a lot of really, really great content, both talking the current product, some old school stuff. He does a really unique series talking about the Wrestling Observer Newsletter Hall of Fame, talking about potential candidates. I was actually on one of his episodes and we talked about Kevin Owens, which was a fun retrospective episode. He does a lot of cool stuff like that. So go check him out. Really good dude, really handsome fella, smells nice as well. So go do that. And with that, I think we'll just dive right into the episode, shall we? WCW Halloween Havoc 1997 with myself and Ryan from the Count Out Podcast.
Yeah, my headphones, I think I need to replace the wire because only the right ear works, and I haven't had the time to really investigate it, and it's been like 2 months. I just haven't. It's like an issue, but it's not like big enough of an issue for me to like do anything about,
sure.
You know?
So it's like I'm like sitting next to you, kind of whispering into your ear. It's kind of the sensation you're getting, right?
In a way.
Yeah. Thoughts? Hair standing on the back of your neck? Goosebumps?
That's why I'm wearing a hoodie, buddy. That's why I'm wearing a freaking hoodie.
That's smart. You knew it was coming. You knew the pile erections. But you know goosebumps are called pile erections?
That's the group plural name, like a murder of crows.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So you add that to your repertoire if it ever comes up in your daily life. But
it never does. But go on.
well, you should shoehorn ways to fit that in. You know. Speaking of shoehorning things, and speaking of erections, WCW, man, good times. All right, good times all around.
Yeah, it's in a way not is this like an all-time great pay-per-view? No, but it's like there's still things good about it, and you can also feel that the wheels are coming off slightly.
You can almost like pinpoint the moment where it's like, oh, never mind, we're losing it.
Yeah, it's not, the entire company is not there yet, but it is like we're circling the drain. We've like started circling the drain a little bit.
Right. Yeah, you can see, especially in hindsight, you can see like the trends starting. Not really starting here, but they're definitely early stages.
Exactly.
At this point. But like there's just enough good stuff where it's like, oh, okay. I think I'll still watch this.
I was reading Dave Meltzer's Observer newsletter. I was to see what his thoughts were in real time, and it was exactly that, where he's like, "This is a weird show where it's like there's good, there's bad," but I think he comes away with like, the Guerrero Mysterio match is such an all-time classic immediately that I cannot give this show a thumbs down. Which is like, I'm like, I tend to agree with you, Dave. I mean, it is so good that it's like, well, you know, that exists here. If that match wasn't here, Kyle, this whole pay-per-view was sunk to ass so much.
Dude, and I was like, because this is my first time watching this show, so I'm unfamiliar with like, is it like critically acclaimed? Is it like not a good show? I only knew Eddie and Ray was on this show, so my bar was pretty high. And I would say it was pretty, we'll talk about it more in detail later, but outside of that match, I mean, on paper, this card looks really good.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. I think that's the problem with WCW in general, is that like on paper, it's on paper out of context. There's a lot of stuff that, and I think that's just like a lot of the, I don't know, I feel like that's a lot of the Attitude Era stuff in general. Attitude Era, WCW, Monday Night War stuff, where it's like, we sort of rose-colored glasses little thing sometimes, and forget like what the quality of some of these wrestlers were by the late 90s. And so you look at this card and you're like, look at all these, from our perspective, it's like, look at all these legends. Surely this card will be great. And then you look at it and you're like, oh yeah, I forgot that there's years where it's like, and it's only, that's the other problem. This is WCW at this point. It's gonna get worse from this.
Yeah, there's a lot, to your point, there's a lot of matches on this show where it's like, if this happened like 4 or 5 years ago, it'd be sick. Flair and Mr. Perfect?
Oh, yeah.
Shoo, doggy.
100%. And even then, like, I was okay with that match. It was like, it served more as like an angle than anything, but like, it was like, oh, this is fine. Not as good as I would want, but it was fine for what
probably
it was.
top half of matches, I would say.
It barely. And by
I mean, it's that number. Yeah, it's at the 50%. But
yeah. I think I haven't like thought of like ratings for my own personal bullshit, but like 2.5 maybe 2.5 maybe.
Yeah, it was more of a set. But we'll just dive in here so we can get into the nitty gritty of it. Well, I guess first of all, because you're always well prepared, admirably well prepared. You watched all the Nitros, all of the pros. All of the Saturday nights. You watched the security footage of the power plant. You got into all the nitty gritty. Are there any like kind of like opening statements, or like any notes, like just kind of general notes from like watching the Nitros leading up to this?
General notes. Well, first off, thank you for having me back on, Kyle. It's been, it's a pleasure to be back on. I'm glad I picked what a pay-per-view to pick. General notes. There's nothing necessarily big that I saw or picked up on in terms of like behind the scenes stuff. There is like stuff like individual match, like the Guerrero Mysterio one, that is pretty fascinating behind the scenes stuff. But like this show does extremely well. I was reading the Observer, like I said, and it was Dave writes, this show did so well. Let me see if I have the numbers. It was a legitimate sellout of over 12,000 fans, and it set the live gate all-time record for WCW. But Dave is like,
Sure.
but we already know that it is already topped by the advance of World War III in November. Like it's a point of like WCW in 1997 is doing gangbusters, and this show, despite how much the quality is, and I think that's like part of it is like the quality turn. I think that happens to like in a modern sense. The quality turns before the business really turns. And the quality is starting to turn, which obviously foretells what will happen in the future. Speaking of camera issues, Kyle's camera
don't mind me, just restarted over here.
Kyle's camera
he's trying to take me down again. The hackers have been sent.
Much like Rey Mysterio, you entered the Phantom Zone for some reason.
There's no Hulkamaniacs here.
But other than like just like WCW is doing gangbusters and like things are starting to kind of like stagnate, I guess, in terms of the top of the card NWO stuff. They're trying to mix it up with Mr. Perfect, I guess, but still. The only other things that like are interesting is the Sting Crow stuff is happening. He is at the point where he's like doing some interactions. Like he's interacted, I think maybe 2 times on Nitro on the build to this, from Fall Brawl to Halloween Havoc. So he's interacting now, and obviously saw in the main event, like they constantly are teasing him. If I recall correctly, he's not showing up until Starrcade at the end of the year. So we're still a couple months away from him, like show up as in like he's here to stay. Or the match. I think it's the match at Starrcade. Anyways, and then the other like cool important thing, I guess, is on, I want to say it was the second week of Nitro after Fall Brawl. So not the return home show, but the week after that is the Nitro debut of Goldberg.
Ooh,
where he I think he was doing like dark matches beforehand, but this is like his debut. He has no entrance. Hugh Morris, I think it's Hugh Morris comes out, does his entrance, and already in the ring, Goldberg. And I'm watching
Bill Goldberg. It's not Goldberg. It's just Bill Goldberg. And they hype, and the announcers are basically hyping it up in the sense of like, who the heck is this guy? He looks great. Oh, and he won? Like, who the heck is this guy? And then like the next week is Mike Tenay comes in, is like, all right, this is all the research I got. The former Falcons player, he's this is great. Of course, like classic Tenay. So it is like, speaking to that sort of, I don't know, maybe it's this idea of like a transitional period to a degree of like, you have this boom of the NWO and everything, and Monday Nitro and everything. But 1987 is doing gangbusters financially, but like we are transitioning to like the latter half of WCW where Goldberg is around now. DDP is going up the card pretty significantly. Sting is Crow Sting, and he's about to like be around, permanently as Crow Sting. But like at the same time, I say it's like a transitional year to a degree, but we also sort of know that it has the elements of transitioning to something new, but as we know from history, they never transition to something new, which is obviously the end up being the downfall of WCW. Right. Yeah. And transition, I think, even applies also to WWF on the other channel, because at this in this timeline, at this moment, is when we're getting off the ground with Stone Cold and Vince McMahon. That whole thing's getting underway. We're about to hit the screw job, and we're about to hit that pivot point where WWF takes over.
Exactly.
So you could argue Halloween Havoc 97 is the peak of WCW. Obviously there's some good stuff. Like we're just in the beginning stages of Goldberg, like you mentioned. There's some good stuff with Sting and DDP, but man,
that's also interesting that like, because I really, what I like about the show a lot is putting wrestling in the context of the time in terms of like an actual timeline. Because I think like maybe it's just me, but like I forget sometimes the timeline of events of things, like in comparison to other stuff. Like you and I watch modern wrestling or whatever, and it's like, okay, Wrestle Kingdom's here, and Dynamite's here, and WrestleMania's here, and like we all like know like everything's happening in sequential order or whatever. Right. But like when I think back into the past, I don't think about how like Halloween Havoc is happening, and around the same time the Stone Cold Vince McMahon stuff is kicking off. And maybe that's just like a lack of knowledge for me, but it is this thing that I constantly happens in my brain where I forget that it almost like my brain segments stuff out into like, oh, this is happening at WCW for all this time. It forgets to cross pollinate
different universes.
I forget. My brain doesn't want to put the universes together, but that's why I like the show so much, is that it allows me to put the universes together.
Yeah, I mean, I only know because I'm actively watching everything right now for the podcast. Exactly. And in 5 weeks, I'm not going to remember that at all.
Well, yeah.
So.
Well, in 5 weeks, I was going to ask you after the show. What is this happening? What's happening? Are you going to have a difficult time by the end of the year?
I'm always having a difficult time, brother.
But if I'm not mistaken, a lot of the archive stuff is leaving Peacock at the end of the year.
I might know a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy under the bridge who sells me stuff, and then
if you know a guy that has WCW Google Drive, let me know.
Yeah.
I know an ECW guy.
I needs it. Yeah, we could do a little trade ski after this on the black market, but
it's a fascinating moment because maybe that's what it is. It's like it is a transitional period for wrestling because it is like WCW is at this zenith that it's like almost like the beginning of the end to a degree. Not quite there, but like almost there. Yeah. And whereas at the same exact time, WWF is about to kick off arguably, I mean, you'll find out, I guess, in real time, Kyle, but like arguably like its biggest like blockbuster storyline in the history of WWE. I mean, maybe outside of like Hogan Andre, maybe.
I would still put Austin Vince at the top of that.
Yeah,
too.
I mean, at least like box office, rave reviews. You know, all these different sort of metrics. Like probably the biggest storyline in the history of the company.
Yeah, I think WCW still has the advantage. Like as Retribution tries to take me down again, WCW still has overall, in my opinion, the better TV show. Week to week. Raw, you have really good stuff with Stone Cold. You have some good stuff with Brett and Shawn, maybe DX. But then outside of that, it is just a lot of throwaway stuff. A lot of we'll fill in the rest of the card as we see fit with however many. We'll throw some minis out there. We'll throw the Godwins out there, whatever. But I mean, WCW has the cruiserweights, which does kick us off here. I believe they're cruiserweights. I would assume.
I definitely Ultimo Dragon is. Yuji Nagata at this time, maybe? I don't know.
Cruiserweights, I don't know if they ever define what makes a cruiser. I know in WWF or WWE they did.
I assume they did. I mean, I don't know. Is WCW known for their details? their detail work? I don't know.
Well, I mean, in TNA, the X Division it was not about weight limits, it's about no limits. And, you know, it's kind of just the afterbirth of WCW. So
exactly.
Who knows?
Exactly. Which speaking of, I just finished watching 2002 TNA. Which yeah, I know.
All of it?
Yeah, all of 2002. Woo! I just finished it. You messaging me was like perfect timing because I was like, well, going straight into WCW 1997.
Same thing.
And yeah, like the 2002 stuff, it's like off and on good. There's like some great stuff, and then by the end of the year, it's like Russo's fully on TV all the time. Well, not TV, pay-per-view, I guess.
Sure, yeah.
And you're just like, oh, Jesus Christ, get this guy out of here.
Yeah, I haven't really delved into 02. I haven't really delved into the Asylum years of TNA. Maybe one day.
I would highly recommend like the first 10 shows because the X Division stuff is some of the best stuff. Like it is AJ Styles, Jerry Lynn. Loki is also in that mix. Like it's just like there's one episode of like the first couple pay-per-views they do because the if people don't know, the first like year, and I think going into 2003 as well, they don't have a TV deal. Their business plan is we're going to have weekly pay-per-views, which are I think 2 hours long, maybe 2.5. And there's one of those like first 10 is just one episode that is all the best X Division matches from the first several pay-per-views. And it's just seek that out. And you'd be like, yes, this is all I need.
I think I'll just watch Ring of Honor from that time period instead. It's kind of the same thing. It's pretty much.
I mean, I'm saying Low Key and Styles is here when their Ring of Honors are around the corner.
Yeah,
Samoa Joe
exactly.
And Briscoes, obviously.
Right. But none of these guys were there, I don't think. We open up. Well, first of all, shout out to Halloween Havoc and the set, the atmosphere. WCW
always a fun set. Always a fun set, in my opinion.
That'll come into play in a later match, which we'll speak to later.
Tease,
perhaps we'll foreshadow. Huh?
Yeah.
Yuji Nagata is the first gentleman we see here, and he's taken on Mr. Ultimo Dragon. So this is Yuji Nagata, of course, accompanied by Sonny Ono. This is more so a Ultimo Dragon Sonny Ono segment here, I guess you would say. But there is a match here. It's a pretty decent match. The crowd's hot for it. That was like my first note. Is it's like Yuji Nagata's like he hasn't really been on TV a lot. He's pretty newly introduced, but the crowd's like he's got heat. They're booing him. They're cheering Ultimo. Crowd's into it. I thought there was some fun work here. Some good kicks from both guys. You know, some high flying stuff, submission stuff. It was a pretty well rounded match. I thought. Good way to start. What'd you think about this?
Yeah, hot open. Obviously with the crowd, and speaking to like this was a sellout crowd, you could probably feel the buzz in the room. This not to date this podcast, but I'm going to. Last night was the AEW Dynamite in Georgia, which I attended live, and that was a sellout crowd. Granted, not 12,000 in attendance. I think sellout at 2,000. But like you can feel a buzz of a sellout crowd, and when a show kicks off, the pyro's going off. You're like, all right, let's get into it. And they get some high flying, sort of puro lucha action with Ultimo Dragon. And yeah, Yuji Nagata, like you said, it's very much a story between Sonny Ono and Ultimo Dragon. Didn't really touch on it. If I recall correctly, during the majority of the match, it's mostly the post-match angle where they attack Ultimo Dragon's arm and beat him down. And I think Ultimo Dragon, they use it as a way to Ultimo Dragon to be written off TV for a little bit, because I believe Tenay mentioned something about how he had like bone spurs in his elbow.
Oh yeah.
So they use it as a way to write off Ultimo Dragon a little bit.
Interesting. Because
ultimately, I thought it was like a fun like opener. Like this is like exactly the kind of like opener. To me, it's like this is the kind of like match that like would open like a modern wrestling show. Is just like like this is a fun open between two guys that are good workers, and we're gonna go out here and have a nice little match,
Nothing too crazy, nothing too brain power inducing. Just a couple of guys kicking each other. We got some Asai moonsaults from Ultimo Dragon,
the namesake.
And like you said, he's working the arm of Ultimo Dragon, taking advantage of the bone spurs. And both guys, they lock in their signature submissions. We got the Nagata lock, but then Dragon gets the ropes, and then we got Ultimo locking in the Dragon sleeper. But then Nagata gets to the ropes, but then Yuji Nagata locks in the Fujiwara armbar in an instant tap out, almost before he hit the mat. So that really put over the damage that was done to his arm, and also the devastation of the hold, I suppose. So Yuji, Blue Justice, I think he's called nowadays.
Yeah, not sporting the Blue Justice here. Really sporting these gold gloves, like
Gold Justice.
These gold MMA style gloves that look so weird. They almost look like the Alexa Bliss gloves. Do you remember those?
I was just thinking when I was watching Yuji Nagata wrestle, I'm like, he's kind of like the early version of Alexa Bliss.
Yeah, he's a 1997 Japanese Alexa Bliss. I think
that's what everybody says. I didn't want to bring it up because it's so hack to say.
Mike Tenay wanted to say it, but he knew that he would be dogged on by Bobby the Brain, so he just avoided it.
Was Alexa Bliss born? You're probably right. I think she's slightly older than I am, so I think she was born.
Would you like to take a guess? What year do you think she was born?
I'm gonna guess 89.
No, later.
91?
91, exactly. August 4th, August 9th, sorry, 1991.
All right, so maybe a 6-year-old Alexa Bliss was donning the gloves and doing the whole thing with their fists.
She was watching Halloween Havoc and got inspired by Yuji Nagata. Look, I do a show called The Ballot. We talk about, wrestlers on the Hall of Fame. We talk about historical significance. What's more historically significant than Yuji Nagata's gloves from Halloween Havoc 1997, inspiring a young Alexa Bliss?
Not a lot of things. No. And also,
get your Sabus out of here. Get your El Genericos out of here.
I hope you're taking notes over there for the next step. So, we should also mention that in the middle of this match, Raven and his Misfits walk into the arena, take their seats ringside. They're a little late to the show, but that's okay. Okay. I believe at this point it's Raven, Stevie Richards, Billy Kidman, and I believe Saturn. I don't know if Saturn was here. I know he's been on Nitro.
Yeah, Saturn showed up on Nitro. He didn't show up here for whatever reason, but it was also like production wise, like just a weird thing because you could see during the match like multiple people looking over to see Raven and the Misfits come down. And then like it was like a full 3 minutes later where production's finally showing them on the steps. And it's like, okay, guys, come on.
Which I think that does kind of add to like the realistic chaos of it.
Sure, that's fair. That's a fair case.
I think there's a balance between like making it realistic and making it like watchable, to your point. Yeah. But
I think about that a lot, especially with like modern wrestling nowadays, where it's like it's gotten to the point where it's very, very produced. And especially like WWE, like very produced, very tightly scripted, where it's like you lose some of that chaotic energy. And I think you're right that like look, it might be like a weird production tick, but maybe that's just because it's 2025 and we're used to overly produced sort of bits. So I don't disagree with that. I can see that as a fine call.
And shout out to them, by the way. I mean, committing to it. They didn't just, it's not like modern day. They don't just come out, stand in the corner, wave, and then leave. They're there. You see them in the crowd, like in the later matches. So they're just here to watch the show.
They're here. I think the last time I saw them was the DDP Savage match. Like they're here like the entire show, just watching, just chilling.
I mean, front row seat for free, I would assume.
No, they're much like WWE. They had to pay for their tickets, so no more comps for old Stevie Richards.
Yeah, there's not a lot of money left after Hogan's salary. You're probably right.
You know how much money that cage cost us?
We're gonna talk about that cage later, brother. Don't you worry. Well, speaking of money, first of all, I love Ono handing Nagata the is it a check? Is that a Japanese
was something.
check?
It was like it had like a ribbon on it too. It was some sort of. I guess the idea was that it was a check, but I don't know what it looked like. It was an envelope, maybe.
But like, is there like a $1 bill over there that's like worth like being a hired assassin, or did he just give him like $5? Like I don't know.
I think I read it as a hired assassin. I also like Yuji Nagata leaving the ring and then like he puts it in his mouth, like and walks out with it. I was like, yeah, buddy, that's some cool shit. Yeah, I got the impression, especially commentary puts it over, like a hired assassin. Sonny Onu wanted to beat up Ultimo Dragon, so he hired someone that could. It makes sense. It kind of plays into a later match down the line with Deborah in a less good way, I guess.
You sure? Deborah, Ultimo Dragon.
Deborah. Can I do that? What Deborah? What is that from? Seinfeld? No, everybody knows Raymond. That's what I'm trying to do.
Can't say I'm a big everybody knows Raymond guy.
That's fair. I don't. No one. Everyone talking about Friends. No one's talking about everybody knows Raymond.
You have the TV set? I bet, don't you?
Not even close. Not even close. I don't even seen. Okay, here's my thing, Kyle. I've never seen a single episode of Friends.
What the fuck? Where's the kick from room button? All right, here we go.
It's next to your working camera button.
I want you to go fuck yourself, buddy. All right.
we jest. Look, I will shout out. I know you've had constant camera issues, and I appreciate your.
Dude, there's no fucking reason. It just like shuts up. Nothing happened. There's no variables. Like it's working now. I do nothing, and it's like, you know what? I don't feel like working anymore.
This podcast is much like WCW, where it's in the sense of like there's good stuff happening in audio and camera and form, but there's just constant thing in the background where Kyle's camera is just tweaking out every like 5 minutes.
The NWO, man, they're hacking into my mainframe. I'm just method acting is the thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Keep up.
The Kyle's camera disturbances are paid for by the NWO. by the new world order.
New world order.
Just the dumbass guitars
for fucking 5 matches in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Disco Inferno's here backstage. I guess in an interview for WCW Wrestling.com.
Yes, I forgot about this.
With is it Mark Madden? Is that who's interviewing him?
Yeah, Mark Madden and some guy on a computer.
I only bring this up because Disco has, of course, a match later in the night, a man versus woman match.
Yep.
And it's been made clear that he's not allowed to punch or kick her, so he's all frazzled. He doesn't know what to do.
Is he not allowed to punch and kick her, or is he just not going to because it's like the gentlemanly thing to do?
Man, I have so many issues with that. We'll get into that when the match comes.
Fair enough.
Jackie's here. She hops. I guess she can't wait for the match, so she hops the desk and starts beating on him.
Mm-hmm.
But just a little. I think Jackie's the bully here, and I think she's the true heel in this equation.
Wow, the first person that has ever sided with Glenn Gabberty. Oh fuck! I fucked up the joke.
No, take two.
The first person that has ever.
Hold on.
Take three. Hold on. Let me reset.
Hold on. Let me get my. Hold on. My soundboard's not up. Here we. I mean, my studio audience isn't ready. 1, 2, 3, action.
The only person that has ever sided with Disco Inferno on anything.
Can you hear that? Is it not playing? Son of a bitch! What is happening? There was a laugh track. What in tarnation, dude?
Yeah, I want you to keep that in and double it.
Hold on. Oh, I don't even have the right mics. Hold on, here we go. Hold on, let me pull this up. All right, hold on.
We can't do it again. We have
there to. There we go.
We've spent so much time in this segment.
All right, here we go. You ready? No, it's still not working. Fuck it. We're doing it live. This fucking thing sucks. You know what'll make me happy? That you know we'll fix this whole situation.
What?
Ghetto.
Or what did Mike Tenay keep calling him? Gato? No, not Gato. Ghetto. He kept saying ghetto, right?
What did I say? Ghetto?
I don't know now.
I think he's just infiltrated my mind now. I think Gato.
Hey, that's the Mike Tenay promise.
That's what he always says.
Yeah. Gato looking awful. I'll say. I mean, like his look is bad.
I was like, is this the same Gato? Like, it didn't really look like him.
That's totally fair. Bleach blonde hair, a sort of like Street Fighter Ken attire, like gi, but it's completely yellow with like red accents. I want to say, just awful attire here from Gato.
Yeah, it's like we get it. Martial arts, like you don't need to like beat us over the head with like like you say, it's like a shitty gi that doesn't fit.
Yeah. I want to say the sleeves were cut off. I want to say.
Yeah, it was he just looked like a big baby. I don't know what the issue is, but not menacing.
No. I'm gonna see if I can find a picture of him because it looked. Oh no, the sleeves weren't cut off. They were fully there. It was a wide hoop neckline for sure. But there is a great picture of Chris Jericho and Gato that I'll send you, I guess, on Blue Sky.
I'm not going to look at it.
That's fair. You're professional. You're a professional. I am not.
Apparently, my computer can't handle it. Chris Jericho versus Gato. Kind of just like a late addition to the show. Not a lot of story here, if any, that I'm familiar with. But yeah, just the owner, right? The booker of New Japan. He's not the owner.
He's the booker. He's the head booker, or at least the booking committee of New Japan right now. Has been for, I don't know, probably a decade at this point, decade and a half maybe at this point.
Right. House of Torture member, more importantly, probably.
Oh yeah. House of Torture. I can't copy and paste this picture. Moving on. Yeah, House of Torture member Gato. By the time this comes out, for sure. I mean, seconding Okada at Tanahashi's retirement match, like, he's a significant figure in Japanese wrestling at this point in time. He's a New Japan. I think he's is WAR still existing. I think he's in New Japan at this time. But the background here is Chris Jericho and Gato have a long rivalry in Japan when Jericho was in Japan. They talked about it a little bit on commentary with like their outings of New Japan, but WAR War is where they like feuded significantly over the junior heavyweight belt. So that was like kind of the idea, is that they have a known history that the Las Vegas crowd has no idea what it is,
right?
Obviously, and the idea is that they're like reversing and they're aware of each other's moves and whatnot, and doing all that jazz. Which I mean, I like it, but it is this thing of like the crowd has no idea who he is.
Right, and they kind of respond in that way. But
exactly.
To your point, Mike Tenay does a beautiful job at building him up, because Gato comes out, he's pretty schlubby looking, not threatening at all. But Mike Tenay lays it out like, hey, this guy's beaten Chris Benoit, he's beaten Jericho, he's beaten Six, he's beaten Liger. He's beaten Liger. He was in the finals of the Super Juniors. He's a former junior heavyweight champ. Like, he's very decorated. So it's like, oh, okay, maybe I'll actually pay attention to this.
And then he throws in here, he's like a big fan of 70s Southern brawling. And Tony Schiavone's like, 70s Southern brawling? Like, he's like, a man after my own heart. Like, oh my God.
That's all you need. That's all you need. Before the actual match, though, like, did you watch this on Peacock?
Yes, I did.
Chris Jericho's entrance, his music. The fuck are we doing, man? Look, I get it. You can't use Not Nirvana. I get it. But just do like an instrumental over it. You don't need to do his WWF music that he doesn't even have for another 2 years.
What music does he have at WCW at this time?
It's I don't know what it's called, but it smells like, no, it's not. It's Even Flow.
Oh, he has Even Flow? That rules.
I was thinking of DDP earlier. But yeah, it's basically, but it's not Even Flow. But it's Even Flow. Yeah, it's Jimmy Hart's Even Flow. Even Flow, baby. You know?
I didn't know you have a Jimmy Hart impression. Oh my God.
God damn. I could do the whole rest of the podcast like that if you'd like.
Well, another thing I've been doing this past year is I've been watching 1985 Memphis. So I've gotten a lot of Jimmy Hart as well, which has been very fun.
Man, that plus your O2 TNA, how are you functioning?
Well, that's a great question.
Ping pong, little AEW in there, like there's a lot going on.
There's a lot. Look, I got to do a lot of research. I got to watch a lot of stuff to pick up on all this stuff.
I respect it. But the match,
also I'm insane. Go ahead.
No. I think that that's well known. That's well known on the streets.
Thank you.
Hey, how does Chris Jericho not walk out of this match paralyzed?
Yeah, that's the big talking point for this match is that Chris Jericho goes for like a Rana off the top rope, if I'm not mistaken. That's his idea.
And by the way, both of them are standing on the top rope. It's not like a classic, Frankensteiner situation.
Correct. It is like they're in like almost like they're standing on top of the turnbuckle. Chris Jericho jumps up to go for like a Hurricane Rana off the top rope. Gato, I don't know what he was thinking. Maybe he slipped. Maybe the plan was to reverse it into a power bomb. I don't know exactly.
Maybe he slipped on his gi.
Reversing into a power bomb kind of makes sense with the theming of the match, like the story of the match. But ultimately, it's like Gato falls too forward. So Jericho doesn't have enough room to rotate on his Hurricanrana. Yeah. So he practically, and not even practically, I think legitimately lands on his skull. Like lands on the crown of his head on the move. And it is like, immediately you're like, oh my God, that's the most terrifying thing. And Jericho, it takes him a little bit to like get back going, but he's apparently totally fine.
Yeah, he recovered like pretty quickly given the circumstance. Like it was it was an inch away from disaster.
Oh yeah. It was terrifying. He should not have been walking. Like that's the fact that he had a 20-year career after this? Insane.
I mean, this was Hayabusa, but off the top rope. Like it was wild.
Oh yeah.
Other than that, like it was a decent match. Nothing particularly noteworthy that I really saw. Anything about this one catch your eye outside of the finish, I guess?
In case you're wondering, he did also wrestle the next night on Nitro.
Wild.
No, I mean, nothing really sticks out to me. Like I said, it's a match that's like designed to be mostly the like reversals and acknowledge. So there's nothing like that's sticking out outside of the outside of the Hurricane Rana fail. I liked it. I thought like I liked the energy of it. It was just like, but it was like a nice match to watch. Nothing. And again, I liked it. I thought it was a good match. Nothing extremely to write home about. Obviously, outside of that big bump, I guess. But again, a nice little match. It's not going to be the match of the night, but it is definitely 100% the top half.
Yeah, especially with what follows this, it definitely gets lost in the shuffle. But ultimately, Gato goes for a missile drop kick off the top. Jericho gets out of the way. Lion Tamer, big tap out. So Jericho wins. It's just interesting. We're about to approach, Jericho finding himself as a character.
Yeah,
we're at the later stages of this kind of just spinning his wheels, babyface run.
Yeah,
he's had some good matches to his credit, but yeah, he's definitely not one of the top cruiserweights, I would say, at this point.
No, he again, like, to speak to that like transitional thing. It's Jericho at this point needs something. He spent a good amount of his time like traveling the world. He working New Japan, War, ECW, all these different places. And now he's like in WCW and he's in there pretty regularly. But it's like for him to like do something, he needs something to his character, just a little bit more for the audience to latch on to.
A list, maybe?
Perhaps I can come up with a list of ideas.
How many things?
Number 1, Painmaker. Number 2, White Jushin Thunder Liger.
Why is that your number 2 gimmick for Jericho?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of all his gimmicks. Number 3, Scarf Guy. Number 4,
or like Nick Bockwinkel guy with the suit.
Yeah. Chris Bockwinkel.
Chris Bockwinkel.
What else? Is Jericho a gimmick? I guess so. Not really, kind of. It's kind of the Nick Bockwinkel thing.
Great theme song, though.
Great theme. That was a good one. That was a good one. That had a good remix. There was a period where they just had shitty remixes for songs.
Yeah, not a lot of. Not a lot.
If I recall correctly, Chris Jericho demanded a good remix for that song.
It was like him and Edge, I think, had like a wonky one or something.
Yeah. I think it was probably because of that, where he's just like, we're not doing that again. Please.
There's like a Miz and Big Show one that was really bad, where it's literally they just like take the two and just like chop and cut and put them together. They don't like blend them at all.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, this is a nice little match. I thought it was good. It was just sort of like, yeah. I mean, the most exciting stuff is the next match.
The next match being a potential match of the year contender. We got the WCW World Cruiserweight Championship on the line. It's a title versus mask match.
Yeah.
We got Eddie Guerrero, the champion, facing off against Rey Mysterio Jr. By golly.
Yeah, this is an extremely well-known historic match. Yeah. This is a legitimately great match. The speed, the intensity, the explosiveness that comes from this match from both these guys starts at the beginning of the match and ends at the end of the match. It is nonstop action. It is some of the cleanest lucha libre wrestling you'll ever see.
Yeah,
Eddie Guerrero doing basing like a god. That springboard to the outside into a Hurricane Rana. Like the amount of work that Eddie Guerrero has to do in terms of body movement and like being able to like hold Mysterio during all that stuff, and Mysterio itself have to flying through the air and then immediately like change course. Like it is just beautiful, beautiful wrestling.
Yeah, that's really like I think the foundation of all of this and why this is so good is just their chemistry, both like with how they know each other and just like you said, their body types. Like Eddie at this point, he's put on a lot of mass.
Yeah.
And then you got Ray, obviously, who's a tiny guy. So that makes Eddie such a good base, like you said. And I mean, it's just also effortless. Like, yeah, it's fast. Yeah, they're doing impressive, like athletic moves, but everything just feels so smooth. It feels organic. Like it doesn't feel like we're telegraphing spots. It doesn't feel like we're getting set up for things. Like it feels like they're fighting, but as luchadors. And like, it's just a perfect blend. Like, I think this is my first time actually watching this match from start to finish.
Really?
I've seen clips of. I mean, I've probably seen this match like in totality, like through clips.
Sure.
But from bell to bell, like this is my first time sitting down and watching it, and I had high expectations, and I didn't know if they were going to be met. But man, it's just like, yeah, it's really what it is. It felt organic. It felt like every part of the match blended into the next part like so seamlessly. Everything made sense. Also, both guys have a lot of momentum at this point. There's big Eddie sucks chance.
Yeah,
before the bell.
He's super over as a heel at this point.
And then Rey Mysterio on the other end of the spectrum, also very over. One of the most acclaimed wrestlers in the world at this point. So you have the great build up. Also, Eddie taking his mask on Nitro. Eddie's recent heel turn, so we're kind of like newly introduced to this character. There's just so many elements just even before the bell even rings that sets this up to be good.
There's also like a lot of other great stuff. Eddie as what was his wrestler name? Was it El Caliente? I think it was something like that.
Yeah, they had a match on Nitro essentially.
They had a match on Nitro already because it was Eddie as El Caliente, and they don't get the reveal until a little bit, after the match. Plus, also at the same exact time, during this period, obviously, as I assume it's part of the build. I don't think it was in the same segments if I recall, but it's part of the build. They have Mike Tenay doing little like promo packages where he's going over like the history of lucha libre, the importance of it in Mexican culture, the importance of the mask and what it means in terms of Mexican culture. Like a lot of like, I can't say for certain, but I have to imagine that like a good amount of that knowledge we all have about like lucha libre wrestling stems from like, at least for like American viewers, the majority of American viewers, stems from Mike Tenay's video packages on this subject. Like in 97, and then all leading to, like you said, you have great heel work from Eddie Guerrero. The crowd super invested him. The crowd super invested Mysterio. You have great heat heading into this match as well. Plus, you have this background history that explains explains the why to the audience of why should we care about this match outside of the heat. It's more than just we're fighting over a belt. I'm also fighting for my identity. I'm fighting for, if you're Mysterio, I'm fighting for my identity, my culture, ultimately. Who I am as a wrestler and as a person, a person of like Mexican heritage as well. Like it's all of that gets added into it, and then on top of that, Kyle, you have like an undoubtable like 5-star match classic of just insane lucha libre wrestling that puts everything over the top. And it becomes this like momentous moment in wrestling that like, we all know that like 1,000% people watch this match today. People go seek this match out.
Yeah.
This match feels so much like a high level wrestling match that you would see today. Like 100%. And in a lot of ways, it like shows me, on Ring Post Radio, one of the other podcasts I do with Scott Edwards. Recently, we've been talking a lot about like modern. We talk about modern wrestling week to week, obviously, right? But like this idea of like I feel like we're at this point in the style. We've like passed the peak of this current wrestling style, which is like very lucha inspired, high risk, high energy, like very like Osprey wrestling style, Yeah. And I feel like we're past the peak of it. And we're on like the downside of it. I don't know exactly what the next version of wrestling style, will come up. Maybe it's more brawling heavy. I don't know. Maybe more violent because of like the AEW influence things. But like it's this thing that like so many people, I feel like today, attempt to wrestle like Guerrero and Mysterio here. But they're just not as good wrestlers, which is fair to say. These guys are at this point in time still insanely great. But it is this thing of like one of the things that like frustrates me so much is that like it's so cool to see high pace action, but the things that this match has, which I pick, these are small little talking ball moments, Kyle. The amount of endurance it takes to wrestle like this, to shove this much action into a 14-minute match is crazy. This match, Kyle, has practically zero, maybe 10% like like a guy like selling on the ground and one person like mucking up to the crowd.
Yeah.
Like I think Eddie does it, like acknowledges it, like as he's about to go for a powerbomb, he like acknowledges it for a second to the crowd for Eddie sucks, and then goes into the spot. Weird boom, 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 boom. The action is nonstop. The pace never lets up. And that's like something that like from modern wrestling is like everyone's going after this kind of like lucha libre inspired style, but it's the thing of like what we're losing is the speed of it all. This is the stuff that I like. The speed and explosiveness and the endurance of it all is what I'm drawn to significantly. And I look, and I think, and not only like the speed and explosiveness, but obviously the chemistry, I think the match layout itself is wonderful. I think like every aspect of how the match works, how it's played out, how the selling, the work, the move set of stuff, Mysterio doing that weird ass like what was like corkscrew moonsault that's like almost like a headbutt.
Like a headbutt. That was so cool.
It was cool as hell. I feel like I've never seen that again in wrestling.
Yeah.
But like it's stuff like that where it's just like this match to me truly stands out above the rest. And I feel like even when this match would fit like a glove in modern wrestling, it would still be a standout match of the year in modern wrestling.
Yeah, that's the thing that's striking to me is that like I'm here in December of 2025. I'm watching him Rey Mysterio do a 619 into a head scissors over the top rope.
Yeah.
Following it up with a somersault over the top rope to the floor into a Hurricane Rana.
Yeah.
I'm watching Eddie Guerrero hit maybe the best powerbomb I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
I'm seeing West Coast pops getting countered anti-air into backbreakers. I'm seeing frog splashes, rolling through into sentons and topes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing all of this, and this is 1997.
Yeah.
Like this is an era where you can also turn the channel and see Henry O. Godwin versus Road Warrior Hawk just bumble and walk and punch and headlock for 15 minutes.
This is the same era where 10 minutes later you can see Steve McMichael versus Alex Wright.
All right, we're not going to besmirch the Mongo. All right,
My
first of all.
Sir. But yeah, it is like that's the thing, right? Is like this style that is very prevalent in a modern sense in 2025 is like everywhere. Like you see it on Raw, you see it on Dynamite, right? You see it on the Indies to a degree. But like this is not a style of match that exists at this point in time. I mean, no other match outside the closest probably just being Ultimo Dragon and Yuji Nagata. No other match even close to this kind of style of match. Not even like saying like good, but just like style of match. And it's great. And like you said, like the high flying lucha libre action of Rey Mysterio is ungodly. The base work of Eddie Guerrero, the heel work, the intensity of these power bombs that he's throwing on him. The West Coast pops are the cleanest you've ever seen in your life. Like the snap to them are crazy. Yeah. It is just like the purest, greatest form of this kind of match to ever exist. And I think you could pop it in today and it would still be a great match of the year contender. But you pop it in 1997, and you're like, this is undoubtedly the best match in existence. How can anything top this?
Yeah, it's and there's stakes also, by the way. It's not just a random match. It's a mask. He loses his mask if he loses. So there's like drama involved, and obviously we care about the characters like we established earlier. Like it just had all of the elements to make almost a perfect match, I would say.
Speaking of the mask, that's the research tidbit that I want to pop up here as well.
Please.
So the finish of this match was not, according to the rumors, not according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter and various other sources, the finish of this match was not decided until practically minutes before the match went out.
Really? In terms of like who was going to win?
Correct. For a very long time, Eric Bischoff wanted Mysterio to lose. To lose his mask. Mysterio was adamant to not lose his mask, did not want to, for the very reasons that Mike Tenay lays out in all of those Lucha Libre things. And Eric Bischoff, like, he was like, no, I'm not going to lose. And Mysterio was like, no, I'm not going to lose. And Mysterio was like, no, I'm not going to lose. And Eric Bischoff was like, no, I'm not going to lose. And Mysterio was like, no, I'm not going to lose. And Mysterio was like, no, I'm not going to lose. And Eric Bischoff was like, no, I'm not going to lose. And Mysterio was like, no, I'm not going to lose. And Mysterio was like, no, I'm not going to lose. And Mysterio was like, no, I'm not going to lose. And Mysterio was like, no, I'm not going to lose. And Mysterio was like, no, I'm not going to lose. And Mysterio was like, no, I'm not going to lose. And Mysterio was like, no, I'm not going to lose. And Mysterio was like, no, I'm not going to lose. And Mysterio was like, no, I'm not going to lose. And Mysterio was like, no, I'm not going to lose. And Mysterio was like, no, I'm not going to lose. And Mysterio was like, no, I'm not going to lose. And Mysterio was like, no, I'm not going to lose. And Mysterio was like, And at one point, this is according to the Wrestling Observer, at one point a few days before the match, Eric Bischoff personally called Mysterio up and told him that if he didn't lose the match, it would be considered a contract breach, and he'll both be fired and even threatened with a lawsuit.
What?
Exactly.
That's so serious.
Extremely serious. Eventually, Mysterio changes his mind and says, "You know what? I like my job. The mask is everything, but I would prefer have a job. I have a family. I assume at this point. I don't know. I don't know if he has a wife at this point.
I believe he does.
I think he does too. And he decides, you know what? Fine, I can lose. And he goes up to tell Bischoff, and Bischoff is like, "Oh no, that's fine. I've already changed my mind. Eddie's gonna lose. You're gonna win the title." And it is like that. It is like that, like down the wire. It is like before literally the day of the show where these decisions are happening, where apparently this entire day going into this, Mysterio was thinking he was going to lose. At the very last minute, Bischoff is like, "No, never mind. We're going to go with you and put the title on you and keep the mask on you." I don't know what convinced Bischoff to change the decision, but his decision was changed, and forever and ever, Mysterio never removes his mask. Isn't that crazy?
Not once. Definitely. No, that'd be silly. That'd be filthy, and that'd be animalistic. I'll tell you.
But it's crazy that like, even like just to think like, obviously things end up happening, but it's those sort of moments that like sort of baffle me, like the alternate reality moments of like, what if Mysterio just lost his mask here? What would that have done to him? You know, would have done anything. I mean, he's that great a wrestler that can overcome it. Who knows?
Yeah, because so when does the Kevin Nash stuff happen? Is that 99?
I believe it's 99. I can double check that, but I believe it's 99.
Because I think Ray still has a bit more of a run with the mask on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, the cruiserweights, you know, the title kind of goes back and forth, and it's almost like its own universe. So I don't know if a ton would have changed in the grand scheme of things, but I don't know. Maybe if he had a lengthy run without the mask, maybe he would have kept it off when he went to WWE, and then that would have had a lot of effects for sure. But
yeah, it looks like 98, late 98 at Super Brawl 9 is where Mysterio loses the match, and loses a tag team hair versus mask match with Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, where Mysterio is forced to remove his mask.
Gotta imagine just that whole year is just Eric Bischoff begging him to take that mask off.
I mean, legitimately, maybe like it literally like this. All this thought goes into this match of maybe Mysterio loses his mask, and then literally, practically a year later, he does. So yeah. It is like what changed it, and what forced him to go back.
Well, also, part of this match that I didn't really realize, because obviously, we're talking about their gear for a second. I mean, Eddie comes out with the black and gold tights, which is sick. He's got the mullet and full toe. And then Rey Mysterio, obviously, it's the iconic, like, full body purple suit.
Yeah.
Which is that like a superhero, or is it just like a...
I believe it is the Phantom. I believe is who it is. I see. I'm not... I want to say it's the Phantom. Not the Phantom of the Opera, but the comic book character, the Phantom.
So it seems like his mask was a part of his suit, no?
Correct.
So if he were to unmask, would he just have to take his suit off?
Pretty much. I think Bobby the Brain says that at some point. He's like, "We'll remove all of it."
Well, hey, in kayfabe, it's genius, right? You can't take my mask off.
It is.
It's attached to me.
The whole build to this is, I want to say, like, they have a match or they have some sort of interaction where Guerrero just comes over and rips the mask off of Mysterio's
That is
head.
a sick spot, by the way. It was on Nitro. It was Rey Mysterio versus Dean Malenko. Dean had the cloverleaf on Rey, or maybe it was like a roll-up or something.
Yeah.
And the referee is checking the shoulders, and then Eddie slides in the back door, quickly just rips the mask off, and then Dean like rolls him into the cloverleaf. Like, it was just such a smooth spot, such a cool spot. But yeah, that did happen.
And I've always loved, obviously he's doing a comic book character, but I always loved he didn't have to do a onesie. He didn't have to do like this one piece suit thing, which I think I saw video. There's a video online of like a 2000s WWE watch along, where it's Eddie and Michael Cole and Rey Mysterio watching this match back. Yeah, it's pretty interesting, and I think part of it is him talking about like the suit was awful to wear. It was just so tough because it was also you could see him during the match a lot. Like his mask just keeps shifting and then it tangles everything, and he's just like constantly fixing
which
things.
Just makes it all the more impressive that they were able to do what they were able to do.
Oh yeah.
I don't even know if we've brought up the famous DDT spot.
The famous DDT spot, the sort of moonsault flip over Eddie Guerrero straight into a DDT. Again, beautiful, perfect.
So good, so good. Is there any other elements of this match that we didn't touch upon? I guess outside of the finish.
I want to put over Mike Tenay specifically. I talked about obviously he had the videos going into it, but I think also like so much of my enjoyment from this and why I really love Mike Tenay so much as an announcer is. Like I shock among shocks. I really enjoy hearing a bunch of history and research about something.
Sure.
Can you believe it, folks?
I can't.
So like Mike Tenay bringing in and so over the top, and I'm sure like Bobby the Brain is like ribbing Mike Tenay to an extent. And probably undoubtedly ribbing Mike Tenay to an extent. But like Mike Tenay going on and on and on about the history these two have, the history of the mask, what they've been doing on Nitro, all these, the history of them, Eddie Guerrero formerly wearing a mask in Mexico, and then the only luchador ever in the history of Lucha Libre up to that point. I don't think if it's ever happened again, I don't know, to voluntarily choose to take off his mask, change promotions. He wore a mask in Japan as well, even after he already took his mask off in Mexico, which is funny.
Right. And then he lost his hair in Mexico in a mask versus hair match.
Lost his hair as well. The stats of Mysterio, like competing in 8 other mask versus mask matches and winning all of them, and all these sort of things. And then again, like I said, maybe it was actually pure ribbing, but I do really love the spiritual idea of Bobby the Brain Heenan, even if it's just a gimmick, but like Mike Tenay going on, and then Bobby Brain just says, "Mike, what do you don't know? What do you not know?" This is like he's just like so astounded by Mike Tenay going on and on about the history, and he's just like, "Mike, you're what are you?" He's just like dumbfounded.
I mean, he was a crucial. I mean, we want to hear Dusty Rhodes analysis on this match. Like you need the Mike Tenay. By the way, the thought of because Dusty's on commentary during this show, and just the thought of his mind exploding watching this stuff.
Mm-hmm. They really hung on the idea of the fact that Mysterio used to be called Hummingbird in AAA, but Mike Tenay, it would have really helped if Mike Tenay said, "Well, yeah, that's because he was started at whatever it was, like 15 years old, and he was incredibly small. He's smaller than he is now."
So I mean, it was just.
Yeah,
fantastic. I mean, we've gushed about this match so much. We could probably do it for another hour if we wanted to. But good finish
like
too.
I said, it's extremely historically significant match. Even us gushing about it is probably not enough to really go into it. But it's also like one of those matches where it is so historically significant. Is like how do you discuss something like this that's so important?
Right. Yeah. And 1997 again, just to reiterate, like all of this is like you said, it could fit in on a Dynamite. With how fluid and athletic this was. And then the finish comes when Eddie propels Ray to the top rope and he sets him up for a Splash Mountain powerbomb, but Ray counters into a Hurricane Rana for the 1-2-3. So he retains his mask and he wins the Cruiserweight Championship. My goodness, ripped mask and all, because his mask had been ripped during the match as Eddie was beating on him. He had camel clutches and whatnot. So he just looked really beaten, but he won the match, and then Eddie just attacks him as he's leaving. Then just leaves, and then Ray keeps celebrating, which is funny. It's just like a fuck you, and then I'm leaving.
He gets a little bit of heat back, and then leaves and gives Rey Mysterio his shine.
Latino heat, perhaps.
Plays music.
folks, this is where I would hit the studio audience laugh track. Let's see if it's working in. Oh, did you hear it?
No.
Are you fucking me? Are you fucking me in my ass right now?
I'm not. Not even close.
Well, the studio or the audience hopefully heard that.
Yeah, that's the other fun bit. Is that I hope that I react as if I can't hear it, but the audience can. So I think that's fun too.
I mean, it would just be raucous laughter on your end if you could hear it. So.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm that crazy where I just hear it generally.
Yeah, you know, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Every joke I make follows by a laugh track.
Well, what about...
Just ask my wife.
Well, I'd rather ask Mean Gene because he seems to have all the scoops.
As he does.
Plug in the hotline here. Apparently there's a new Click member backstage. Any ideas as to who that is? I was going to research it, but I didn't.
No idea. no idea.
It might be. Was Louis, because I know Louis Piccoli comes in soon. Was he a Click guy?
I don't think so.
Or did he hate the Click? I think it's one or the other.
I truly do not remember.
Or maybe Mean Gene is just feeding us some bullshit. I think that also could be an option.
Maybe it's ways to get people into calling the hotline. I don't know.
Well, there's also... So it's very in line with all the tech issues here. So Gene, that cuts to Gene on the stage. She's plugging the hotline, whatever. And then there's this like really weird transition. Like nobody comes out. It's just him plugging the hotline. Then he throws it back to Tony Schiavone. And he's like, all right, well, Tony, what are you going to be wearing for Halloween? And then there's like this pregnant pause of like 3 seconds, which is forever, it feels like. And then Tony's like, oh, I don't know. Maybe I'll go in my Mean Gene costume. Anyway, here's Hulk Hogan.
He had nothing. It was just
he panicked.
He panicked. It was like, what do I say? I don't know. Mean Gene.
But then it continues because then he throws it backstage to Hogan and Bischoff, you know, the black and white, the NWO backdrop, right? Here's Hogan and Bischoff. And then it cuts to Hogan and Bischoff looking at the camera. All right. And then he starts, it's like they like didn't know they were on or something.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a weird.
It was super awkward transitions.
It's hilarious though. But it's a very pivotal segment that kind of feeds into the rest of the show.
Can I be honest here?
Please.
A pivotal segment that honestly, at least when it comes to like commentary stuff, derails the entire show.
Thank you.
I hated this as a full show premise. Like on a TV thing, I think it's fine, right?
Sure. On
a pay-per-view, and look, I think it's one thing to do it on a pay-per-view. I think it's like plausible, like, you know, like AEW World's End is like, we'll do tournament matches, and then you'll see the match at the later thing. So you're building up to the finish. So you're building up to like, you know, the end of the show. So there's investment to like watch it as the show's unfolding and things are happening. But it's also this idea of like, I already paid the money.
You got us.
And it's also like a pre-internet. Well, I guess the internet's coming around at this point, but pre-social media stuff where it's like, am I going to call my friend and say, you have to watch this? Sting might come out in the main event. Maybe that's the idea that they were going for. I don't know. But like, it's this idea of Hogan and Bischoff are pulling themselves out of the main event. But they will only go back in the main event. Which if I recall correctly, I don't know how, I don't remember if they even explained how Hogan is able to do this. Because if I recall, Roddy Piper put this match in place because he had a year-long contract that allowed him to put together this match since he was also the acting commissioner.
Right.
So I don't remember exactly even if they explain how Hogan's able to just be like, I'm not showing up until this happens. And what he wants happening is a contract signed by Sting saying that he will not be anywhere in the building or the premises, not working the popcorn stands, not cleaning up the garbage after the show. This idea of like Sting will not be involved whatsoever, which is again crazy with what the end of the match, the main event is. But like, it's this thing that is set up here that is then discussed maybe like 80% of every single match for the rest of the show until the main event.
Yeah, and like, when I first saw this, I was like, oh, it's a cool little thread, I guess, to kind of link the show together. But to your point, it's a pay-per-view. It's like, it doesn't matter if they retain my, watch time or whatever. Like, you got me. You got my money. I'm watching it. Mm-hmm. It's not a Nitro. Mm-hmm. Ratings don't matter. So, yeah, it's a bit unnecessary. They could have easily just done this identical segment on Nitro.
And it's also, the big thing is that commentary keeps like hitting you over the head with this thing. Like I remember at one point I'm watching this, Kyle, and I out loud say, "Shut up!" Like, and I think I said that during the Henning Flair match. That's 3 matches later from this segment, and they continue doing it throughout the next couple until the JJ Dillon segment. So it's just the thing that nonstop, and I don't know if it's like Tony Schiavone and Bobby the Brain, everybody felt like they had to keep hitting on the head, or if they were told on their headphones that like, oh, you have to keep bringing it up. But it is, I cannot stress enough to your listeners, Kyle, how constant they are talking about. Hogan's going to bring it up. Someone's got to do something. The executive committee board can't allow Hogan to be able to do this sort of pull this. The end.
He's Hogan, a liar. He's just scared, which that drove me crazy, by the way, too. Tony Schiavone's like, Hogan, he's not actually afraid of Sting because, look, there's a cage around the ring. That's there to stop interference.
Yeah.
Hey, dickhead, Sting flies from the rafters and there's no roof on the cage.
I know. The whole thing is ridiculous. It is nonstop. It is constantly, and it is the thing of like, I wonder if they just like kind of run out of things to talk about because they just like are coming up with reasons and trying to like they, at a certain point they like stop bringing up points about it, but they are told to just like Tony Schiavone's just like, well, we have to be emotional about this. Like this idea of like, I don't have anything more to say. I'm just reacting strongly.
To be fair, is there a lot to talk about in terms of Alex Wright versus Steve Mongo McMichael?
No, the match stunk, but this match wasn't even supposed to happen. It was supposed to be Mongo versus Jeff Jarrett, which is what they were building to. Because Deborah was aligned with Jeff Jarrett at this point in time.
Sure was.
Which I think was a segment earlier in the show as well, but whatever. It doesn't matter. But like, yeah, this match stunk. These guys have zero chemistry. Mongo is good in spurts, but he cannot work with Alex Wright in this regard. Alex Wright's not doing a good job. And then the match ultimately doesn't matter because then Goldberg comes out, squashes basically both guys, but specifically Mongo. Wins it for Wright. Deborah gives Goldberg Mongo's Super Bowl ring, and then he beats up Mongo, and then he leaves. Or no, he beats up Wright. He beats up Alex Wright, and then he leaves.
I mean, just a disaster. Like, it's incredible that this happened, and then Goldberg went to beyond the star that he ended up being, like very soon after this.
Yeah.
But yeah, the match, like the whole, I guess the setup here, like you mentioned, it was supposed to be Mongo versus Jarrett. Jarrett left WCW.
He had signed a 1-year contract in October of 1996. And then here we are in October of 1997. He's like, no, I'm going to go back to WWF.
See ya.
They're in the middle of building up to this show.
Whatever. Like, we've already gotten Jarrett versus Mongo like 8 times at this point. Who gives a shit?
Oh, yeah. We got it on the bill to Nitro, I think. If I recall correctly.
Sure. They traded the U.S. title, I think. Like, they've milked it dry. Whatever.
Yeah.
But we got Mongo here. Essentially, I don't know if he's still a member of the Horsemen.
No, the Horsemen don't exist at this point. They've been dissolved. After Fall Brawl and Ric Flair getting injured and Arn retiring, and Chris Benoit is out for a little bit. After Ric Flair gets the steel cage thrown and crushed his skull, and commentary acts like he died. Ric Flair dissolves the Horsemen for this time period. So
yeah, they did a segment on Nitro where Flair like called in on the telephone. He's like, basically he's putting over Benoit and Mongo, and essentially sets them free, I guess. So
pretty much. I think he actually said that too.
Yeah, I would have said that the horses are free range or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
So Mongo is just an individual guy here. He doesn't even have Deborah as his valet. He's just Mongo.
He doesn't have the title either.
Yeah, it begins to become clear. Like, I feel like Mongo needs like some stuff around him. Like, I enjoy Mongo, but him as just a standalone dude, like, I don't know if it doesn't do a lot for me.
He had a really fun on one of the Nitros. He had a really fun match with Henning that I really enjoyed. It was I think it was the match, the Nitro right after Fall Brawl, where Henning has all this heat and Mongo, and it's like a match where they're just working on Mongo's leg because I think he injured it in the War Games match. But it's just like this really fun like match. And it's like, yeah, this is the spot where you put Mongo in. This like match against like a technical dude from Europe, like there's no chemistry here. It's not. This match was never going to work.
Yeah, And it's really ultimately because the whole thing was like, Deborah, I got a mystery. Hey, everybody, I got a mystery man that's going to represent me. I gotta think people tuning in are expecting like a huge surprise, maybe like a debut, maybe a football player. No, just Alex Wright, just a guy that we see every week on Nitro, which I like Alex Wright.
Yeah, he's fun. He's fine.
I like Mongo, but like to your point, it's like I like fruit and I like cake. I don't like fruit cake. And this match was a fruit cake.
That's legitimately an actual great analogy for what this was.
Yeah, and Alex Wright is the fruit, and Steve Mongo is the cake. You know.
Well, he's got the cake. We can all
Mongo. I think Mongo has like no ass. I think he has ample every other part, but no ass.
Okay, now I have to look up Mongo's ass on Google.
Take a look.
What does Google AI want to tell me about Mongo's ass?
That is going to be in your search. I hope you're on income.
If you type in Mongo's ass to Google, the first Wikipedia entry is Mongolian wild ass. So
let's hear about that while we're here.
Open link a new tab. I guess Steve McMichael.
Let me look this up too. Let me make sure I'm not just talking out of my ass. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't want to see him with the ALS. I don't want to see that. That's upsetting.
Oh, yeah. His ass probably at that point was not great either.
He doesn't really have... You're right. I think you're right. Like, he doesn't really have an ass. He doesn't really have cake.
Back shots of him on the internet.
A lot of back shots of Steve Mongo McMichael.
Not enough.
It's...
Call in if you have any thoughts on Steve Mongo McMichael's ass.
Please call in. I would appreciate it. If you have thoughts on Mongo's ass, we would all like to hear it. I think you're right. He has an ample upper body, but I don't know if he necessarily has cake.
Okay, I typed in ass, and now I'm just seeing Steve-O's ass from Jackass. And there's a lot of those. A lot of availability of those, if you're curious.
Oh, yeah.
What were we talking about? Oh, yeah, Mongo versus Alex Wright. Really just a backdrop for commentary, getting emotional about the Hogan Sting Piper situation. Will the main event happen, et cetera, et cetera. The match is happening. There's not a lot going on. Out of nowhere, Alex Wright goes for a tombstone, and then Mongo, I guess the idea is that Mongo was going to counter this into his own tombstone. A little wonky, lost you a little bit, reset, bing, bang, boom. Tombstone pile driver. Mongo gets the win. Or no, he doesn't. I'm sorry. Mongo hits the tombstone, but then Deborah distracts the ref.
Oh, yeah.
And making his pay-per-view debut, Bill Goldberg hops in the ring, spears Mongo. By the way, I got to emphasize this. The idea is that the ref is distracted for all of this, right?
Charles Robinson, fully distracted, can't hear a single thing that's happening behind him.
He can't hear anything. He can't feel Mongo's head hitting his... I guess theoretically it could have been Alex Wright doing something, but you're not going to take a look back, Charles?
Yeah.
Spears Mongo into Charles Robinson. Charles doesn't turn around. Jackhammer to Mongo. By the way, it's not a silent jackhammer. It's a right in Charles's ear.
Yeah.
Hits the jackhammer.
And also just two big guys, right? These are two ex-football players.
Oh, the vibrations? Come on now.
Yeah, it's just probably 500 pounds plus slamming into the canvas.
And then there's a moment where he hits the jackhammer, and I think it's at this point the ref is like, "Oh, now it's my opportunity to turn around." But then I think he then remembers that Goldberg has to go and get Alex, pick him up, walk over, drop him. So he half turns around. He's like, "Oh no, I think I'm gonna keep being distracted by Deborah." And then the ref finally turns around. Alex is on top of Mongo. Alex Wright gets the win here.
Yeah.
And but more importantly, Deborah gives Goldberg Mongo's Super Bowl ring. This is very prominent because Goldberg was a NFL player himself. No Super Bowl rings to his credit, I don't believe. So all along we thought Alex Wright was the mystery man, but in reality it was Goldberg. So I do like that element of it, I guess, but the execution of all of this was it fell very flat.
No, it's a bad match that again gets overproduced because of ref distractions that then doesn't work as well because of those story beats, because the logic gets thrown out the window almost immediately with all of it. It just goes on too long. Deborah, I mean, Charles, as much as like Charles Robinson's being ridiculous and everything, I don't think like Deborah's doing enough to really like really sell distracting Charles Robinson. It's a bad match that falls apart in ring that then has a story beat that just falls apart in ring as well. So nothing about it truly works.
I would imagine we get a Goldberg Mongo match out of this, right? At some point.
Yes, I want to say very soon we get a Goldberg Mongo match.
I mean, that just sounds fantastic.
Yeah,
there's no way I can see that falling apart at all.
Get into it.
I'm strapped in. But after that, we cut back to backstage. We got the Macho Man and Elizabeth cutting a promo, just whatever, an NWO, black and white.
Yeah.
Classy. Yeah, even if you've never seen this, you know what it is. It's Macho Man doing his whole shtick. Which is good. You know, I'm DDP. I'm gonna beat you later. Oh yeah. And then,
oh yeah.
Elizabeth.
Snap into it.
Oh, by the way, it's Slim Jim's Halloween Havoc.
Slim Jim's Halloween Havoc. Snap into the NWA. No, not the NWA.
All right, easy there, Dusty Rhodes. He always calls it the NWA on commentary.
Easy, Billy Corgan.
Boy, howdy. Well, speaking about smashing pumpkins, this guy was wearing pumpkin-colored tights. Disco Inferno.
Yes.
Versus Jacqueline. Man versus woman. My goodness. Yeah. My goodness. This feud... Like, I was watching the Nitros leading up to this. I even researched it again to make sure.
Yeah.
This feud just popped up out of nowhere for no reason.
Truly. It just was like Jacqueline came over and was like, I want to fight you. And Disco's like, no, I don't want to. And that was it.
Like, there's no point where Disco is like a bully here. Like, there's no point that...
Correct.
There's nothing that makes me dislike Disco here. Like, he doesn't want to fight. He's not punching her. He's not kicking her. He's not doing anything. He's not touching her. Yep. Disco won the TV title on Nitro. And then before he even gets a chance to celebrate, Jacqueline comes out and poo-poos on it for no reason. Like you said, just to say, hey, I don't like you. I don't like your pants. Yeah. We're going to fight. And
I genuinely don't know if they had any interaction before this.
I don't think they did.
Yeah.
I don't think they did because Jackie was with the Harlem Heat for a little bit. And then before that, she was with Kevin Sullivan.
So, okay, I want to bring this up as well. Why this match is even more confusing to me. So Miss Jackie is with Harlem Heat, who Stevie Ray is at this point in time currently injured.
Correct, yes.
And Booker T's around. Why is this not Booker T versus Disco Inferno for the title? Why are we doing man versus
That's so
funny.
Like
Booker T's not even involved with the feud. I don't even think he like comes out in any of these segments where he's cutting a promo on Disco. He's just like gone. I don't think he's injured. I know I know Stevie Ray is.
Yeah.
But he's just like disappeared, and I'm like, why is this not Booker versus Disco?
Booker wrestled on Nitro the week before this against Perfect, I think.
Yeah,
somebody.
Yes, yeah. Why
so he's around.
He is around. He is not able to do anything because his tag partner's like injured. But so his manager all of a sudden is fighting Disco Inferno, kind of for the title, kind of not.
Yeah, that's a great point. Also, if you're hell bent on getting Jacqueline on TV, you got 2 women's championships. You got the heavyweight women's championship, and you got a cruiserweight women's championship.
Yeah,
I don't even remember who the champion is at this point.
I was just thinking that, and I'm like, I have to look up who.
I look up who the cruiserweight champion is like once a quarter, and I always forget. It's a Japanese lady that I'm not familiar with, I think.
Okay, let's see. 1997. So the world women's champion is Devil Masami.
That's right.
And
it was Hokuto, I think, before that, maybe.
It was vacant before that for almost 100 days, and it was Hokuto.
Yep.
Yeah, Devil Masami won the title a month earlier.
They got Medusa on the roster. I know Luna Vachon was around for a little bit.
The cruiserweight title is held by Sugar Saito, who again won the title a month previous.
Mako Satomura has made appearances on Nitro. I mean, you can have you could have Jacqueline versus Mako, add a little flavor.
Here's the other thing. Jacqueline, not long for this company. She then next month, if I believe, does a actual dark match, or not next month, like a week or two later. I think 2 weeks later, has a dark match for the TV title against Disco Inferno where she loses, and then she promptly doesn't really do anything in December. I guess not promptly, but doesn't really do anything, and then hops over and is in WWF by next year,
and then is in PMS a few weeks later.
Which is in WWF till 2004, obviously, and then she'll eventually go to TNA.
Yeah, so
it's just like, why are we doing this? To me, it's like they're doing this as a write-off for Jacqueline, I guess.
Let me check here. How long is this match?
9 minutes and 39 seconds.
And I will say maybe 8 minutes and 45 seconds is Disco Inferno powdering to the outside because he doesn't want to fight.
It is so much powdering. Like, look, in terms of like the story and build and all these sort of things, and like even like this show itself, where Disco's like, I'm not gonna touch her. I'm a gentleman, and I'm not gonna do that. Right? Even as a heel, whatever. It's one thing. But like I get the idea of powdering out to the outside. The problem is he does it too many times where it no longer is effective. Right. You know, the rule of threes, dude. Like learn your story beats, your storytelling beats. Like, don't just
genuinely, is he supposed to be the heel here? Because it's like he's bullied into the situation. He didn't want to be here.
I truly do not. He is obviously he's supposed to be the heel, but it doesn't work at all because he's bullied into this match practically by Jacqueline. Yeah. He doesn't want to fight her at all, but he has to do it. It 100% feels like a rib against Disco Inferno, which then becomes, is it just a rib on Disco, and the whole point of this is just rib him, which is probably
I think
accurate?
ultimately this is all like comedy, allegedly, so it's like they probably didn't put a lot of thought into it. It's probably just whatever, do something silly, then we'll go to the next match.
You're telling me that Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan and Kevin Nash, and who I think Kevin Sullivan was the booker at this time, are not comedic legends?
Look at the adjective. And by the way, when I was watching this, because this is just happenstance with my podcast and all the timelines that I cover, I just recently covered Chavo Guerrero versus Jacqueline.
This is her thing. A couple
weeks ago.
This is her story. This is her gimmick match.
And I didn't like that when I was watching it, but now I'm realizing that maybe it could have been a lot worse, because Chavo and Jacqueline was like a better version of this. Like, it was obviously punching or kicking to the face, but he was like Chavo was being the bully, using his power, shoving her.
Because Chavo understands the gimmick. Like, Chavo understands what's happening. Disco, the heat is, look, how do I say this without sounding like an asshole? Please. The heat is beating up the woman. Don't clip that.
Ryan loves beating up women. You heard it here first, folks.
No.
We got it. Thanks for joining us, Ryan. It's been a pleasure.
No. But like Chavo gets it, right? Like, that is the heat. Disco doesn't want to do it, so by refusing to do it, the match then crumbles by like the weight of, like, I don't know, the weight of not doing anything, I guess.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, you want to take a powder once or twice, sure, but it's just one after the other to the point where it's like, all right, we're done.
Jackie should go out there on the third powder and then beat him up on the outside, bring him back in. Like, I do think like the action where Jackie like beating him down is really fun, and the crowd's obviously very invested in that part. But it is like it is to a certain degree like she doesn't necessarily know what to do in the very beginning of all these powders, I guess. I don't know. I don't know.
There's a lot of dead air in this match, and like you said, the action was not bad. Like, the sunset flip into the ring was a fun false finish, and the brawling was pretty fun.
There is when it gets to actual wrestling in-ring stuff, it's not too bad. Like, it's like, this is fine,
Right. Could have been a fine match, like the float over DDT by Jackie, the suplex on the floor, cross bodies off the top rope. Like, there's some fun, finishes.
I think like kind of what you're talking about, the Chavo match is like, there is something here. It's very obvious that Disco, can you believe it, is not not a good enough wrestler to pull this off. Can you believe it, folks?
I mean, I don't know if I can co-sign that. I mean, he's the television champion. I don't know if you heard.
Put some respect on this guy's name.
I mean, shake your booty right on his ass just to make sure that you know. Like, what's not to like about Glenn Gilberti?
Look, this guy can say his name. Can't.
Yeah.
How much longer does he have the title? Oh, he loses in 2 weeks, I think.
Oh, it's a TV title. You don't have it for more than a week, I think.
Yeah, he has it for 42 days. The next night he has a no contest match against Disco Inferno. Oh, Bill Goldberg, not a win, no contest. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. And then the week after that, he loses it to Perry Saturn.
Interesting. What a whirlwind.
Yeah, and then a month later he beats Saturn for it, and then oh, can you believe it? Oh my God, Kyle. So he wins the title back like a month later from Perry Saturn. He defends it against some people, and then he loses the title by the end of the month of December, by the last Nitro of the year, to Booker T.
See, we get there. You know what? We're just not patient.
Maybe that's what this is.
We're just this generation. We want it now. We're just a TikTok brains. Give it to me now. Whereas story heat. That's my Bully Ray impression, by the way.
You gotta wait. You gotta wait for the story. You don't let it unfold, Kyle. You have to let it unfold. Booker T's not involved in any capacity, but he will be, and he will win the title.
We make movies, pal. And we're just jumping. I'm glad we can learn.
I cannot believe that eventually Booker T gets involved, and then we're done with Disco Inferno for a bit.
We're never done with Disco Inferno, unfortunately. It seems like
he is the sun death of Nitro.
Yeah, well, we'll move on to something I guess a little better than that. We got the United States Championship on the line. We got the champion, Kurt Hennig, versus Ric Flair. My goodness. So this is a match that I actually had pretty high expectations on, and then I remembered it's 1997, which I mean, both guys could still go, I guess. But
yeah.
This reeked to me, and I'm not totally sure about the timeline and what happens here. This reeked to me of like setting up for a rematch.
Oh, probably. I don't know for certain. I mean, this was obvious. Like I said, I think you're right, because this was, I want to say this was Ric Flair's return match from quote unquote injury, a fall brawl.
From almost dying, yes.
And when I say almost dying, the following Nitro, Tony Schiavone cannot even do commentary because he's so upset.
Walks out.
He gives a whole speech, and then he's like, "I can't do this," and it's so funny. But yeah, anyways, it is this thing of, it definitely is like this was the kickoff as Fall Brawl, and then this is the beginning of the actual feud. This is more of an angle. Mr. Perfect comes out wearing the Nature Boy robe, sleeveless. Hulk Hogan cut it off the sleeves so that he could wear it.
Sensational.
Mr. Perfect, by the way, real quickly, the opposite of Gato, wearing that robe with no sleeves, the drip of that attire,
it was pretty sick.
He looked awesome. That he should have kept that look.
I think so.
But yeah, and then Ric Flair comes out without a robe because his robe is being worn by Mr. Perfect. You know, they chop. Is
that the reason? Is that he only had one robe? I took it as he was intense and he didn't want to bother with the pomp and circumstance of the situation.
Tomato.
Maybe a little column A, column B. Yeah,
column B. Yeah. But then ultimately, it just becomes like a pure brawl between these two. A little bit of like, you know, these are technical guys, so there's a little bit of that, but it's mostly a brawl. And you're right. It is, to me, it's like it is an extended angle of a match. You know, it is a 14-minute match, so there is something here.
Yeah,
but it feels more like an extended angle to build to whatever's next.
Yeah, and I do. While the match isn't like much to write home about, ultimately, I think the context of the feud, and I feel like the hatred between the two guys was felt with, you know, Flair sprinting to the ring, which is very un-Ric Flair like. No robe, just straight business. You know, again, Perfect with the robe, the disrespect. We're following up on the big angle at Fall Brawl that closed the show. Like, there's a lot of good stuff in the feud. And, I mean, two great talents, obviously. I mean, watching Perfect sell the chop by just getting flung into the air is just amazing. It is just a lot of brawling here, ultimately. I mean, Perfect does some, like, leg work when he gets control at some points. They do a little callback because, as you know, you mentioned Fall Brawl. He crushed his head.
I did like this
Perfect
spot.
did.
I did like this spot a lot.
They try to recreate it with Perfect setting Flair's head up against the ring post, and then Perfect grabs the chair, tries to smash him with it, much like the cage door, but this time Flair gets out of the way, makes a comeback, and then Perfect grabs his belt and then leaves, which it felt like every match from here on out did the same thing. But Perfect grabs the belt, leaves, Flair stops him. They get into the ring. There's some moves that are like kind of done on the belt. I think Perfect goes for the Perfect Plex onto the belt, but Flair counters into a suplex. But ultimately, weird finish. I don't know if maybe it's not so bad.
I like the idea. One, it's this match has Ric Flair selling headshots a lot, which is fine. But I do like it as like, look, if this match is meant to kick off really the feud, right? We had the angle, but this is the match that kicks off the feud. Ending in DQ is whatever, but having this idea where Ric Flair is able to get his revenge, puts the belt around Kurt Henning's face, and kick him in the face with
all business, no flash. I did like that element of it.
Yeah, is it a technical masterpiece that you would expect from these guys? No, but it had a good amount of heat and energy and brawlness to it that you wouldn't expect. That I think was well done. They're just like not brawlers, so it's like not
it's not their forte.
It's not Eddie Guerrero, Mysterio in terms of lucha libre. It's not their forte, but it was like I think like done effectively.
It's like Flair sets up this belt on Perfect's face. I'm like, is he about to do a running like hesitation drop kick, like a Chris Sabin drop kick into the corner? But no, he just like walks up and stomps him, which I loved.
Yeah. And the referee's like, all right, fine, I'll call the DQ.
Yeah, which
I didn't do it with the belt suplex thing, but we'll do it here.
And then the refs and Conan and Vincent of the NWO, the C team, I guess, come out to help Henning, and they bring him out of there, and they skedaddle. And so, yeah, we're left with this kind of, unfinished business, DQ finish, non-finish. Mm-hmm. Still more in the tank of this feud, but yeah, I didn't mind this, I guess, but it was ultimately pretty forgettable, I guess.
Yeah, it like we said, kicks off the feud. I'm looking at the cage match stuff here, and it's basically like they're gonna feud up until mid-December over to a degree the title, because they end up having 2 more title matches.
Right. Yeah.
but the idea is the next like match that they have is a title match, but it's also no DQ at World War III. So you'll okay. I'm fascinated to see what that would be like. That one is going to be 18 minutes and it's a pure no DQ match. So I wonder if it's going to be more of the same or even a little bit better. I'm fascinated to see how that holds up.
Yeah, probably the same thing, but in 3 rings, I would imagine. But we'll see.
Maybe.
More to follow on that. But until then, we got Mean Gene Okerlund on the stage, and he has old J.J. Dillon alongside of him, the chairman of the WCW, I want to say.
He's not. I don't think he's the commissioner.
Committee?
He's the commissioner. Because he was the commissioner. NWO took him out. That's how Roddy Piper comes back. And then Roddy Piper was only the acting commissioner, and then now JJ Dillon's back.
So JJ's here responding to the demands of Hogan and Bischoff from earlier, how they're pulling themselves out of the main event unless Sting can sign a contract to their demands, etc., etc.
Again, I want to stress 3 matches. It felt like an eternity of them nonstop talking about this plot point, and finally we get to an ending of it.
Oh yeah. I mean, commentary's been nonstop through all these matches that we've been discussing. They're not talking about the matches. They're talking about that segment.
No, it is so annoying.
So JJ assures us that the main event is going to happen as advertised. And then Eric Bischoff comes out and he says, "Who the hell do you think you are? You got no stroke," which I feel like he does. I feel like it's like in his job description.
The commissioner? I mean,
I guess who in the hierarchy, like JJ and Eric, like who's higher? But Eric's like with the NWO. He's not with WCW.
Do we know? This is the okay. Here's the problem: my lack of enough WCW lore knowledge. is what is Eric Bischoff's job in kayfabe? Is he the executive producer in kayfabe?
In kayfabe, I think he's just like the fucking NWO.
He is a former announcer, I guess, in kayfabe.
He was a former announcer. Has it? I don't know if it's been said that he's. I think it's been mentioned that he's the owner of WCW.
But he's not the owner. I mean, obviously, like Ted Turner is, right?
Yeah, right. The
he's
president,
I think he's just. I think he's president and executive producer. Something. Right, he has a title. He's the guy. He's like the final boss.
Yeah.
Not that one. But he's not the booker. He's the guy that makes the ultimate decisions on the stuff. But
I think this is a situation like when Vince and Linda were on TV together. I feel like Linda always had the say over Vince.
Yeah.
And I feel like Linda is JJ in this situation, and
I believe I want to say you're right. I want to fully say that you're correct.
But
which again, the more I think about it, I me watching a lot of this WCW stuff because I've been watching a good amount, really, and knowing what happened and the WCW invasion and what the initial idea of that was with WWF, where Vince was going to turn Monday Night Raw into Monday Nitro fully and repackage the whole thing. Like, I kind of just feel like Vince was a fan of Nitro. Like, the more I think about it, like there's so many plot points and story beats, like, and the fact that he was just fully going to get rid of his flagship show of Raw and turn into Nitro. I wonder if Vince was just purely a fan of this product, and like the fact that like eventually like his shows and Nitro and like Raw will eventually turn more into like the production segment style of Nitro. Like, I wonder if he was just a fan of this, because
you think he has in his little NWO t-shirt, like watching it.
I think Vince McMahon's wearing a jean kind of blue shirt that has the little logo of Monday Nitro on it. Which, by the way, I want it. I want that shirt so badly.
Or maybe like the polos with like the red, black, and white vertical stripes that all like the security was wearing. Yeah, I could see it.
I want it. Yeah, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, I think Vince McMahon was a big fan of Nitro.
Just a big mark.
I get it. I think it was a mark.
Oh, he had Nitro parties, that's for sure.
He sent those tapes in.
But then JJ ultimately is like, fuck you, I guess. So the match is going to happen ultimately. So nothing, all of this to like not really affect anything, basically.
There is this like weird story beat where I don't even know what happens with it or what the result of it was or how it even came up, but something about how like JJ doesn't have the stroke, and like if something happens or whatever, then NWO gets Nitro, like become like the owners of Nitro or something.
I'm not sure.
It's like brought up, but like barely addressed and never thought of again. Because there's also the aspect of like Eric Bischoff is the executive producer, president. He eventually wants to like spin off NWO into like its own brand, right? Right. And so like that's, I think, him trying to implement the idea, but like it really goes nowhere here, and it's just like this dangling Chad thread that's out that it doesn't make any sense, and there's no follow up at all, anyways, as I recall.
I mean, they do try the sold out pay-per-views. We'll try. I mean, they do them like several times, but I don't think any of them are ever good per se. So I guess maybe they tried and failed, but
exactly.
Speaking of which, we got after that Lex Luger versus Scott Hall with special guest referee Larry Zbyszko. You a big LZ guy?
I'm fine.
You're fine. Like, I'm good. Like, I've had enough. I've had my fill.
He's fine. I think like as a good, like as a commentator, I don't know. He's just like fine in every role I've seen him in. Like maybe I'm missing the pure Larry Zbyszko experience. Like maybe there's a DVD, like a comp DVD out there that I can just get my LZ tapes. I don't know, but I don't know. I'm fine with little Zbyszko.
Yeah, I guess so. Him and Scott Hall have the history from AWA, I believe. So I think that's a lot of what this foundation is, but they never really like. There's no Mike Tenay for 80s territory wrestling. Like there's none. Like we could have used some like foundation to like their past history. I think that would have added a lot. But I don't know. And then Lex Luger's here. It feels like he's kind of like on the downslope in terms of popularity. it's really more of a Scott Hall versus Larry Zbyszko feud here. Again, not a ton to this match. I thought the finish was pretty lame, but I don't know. Maybe you disagree. Did you love this match?
No, again, it was fine. I will say I got distracted because apparently the teaser trailer for the live action Street Fighter film came out just now, and I just got super distracted by that because I was looking at Cody and Hiroki Goto and Roman Reigns. No, I didn't think this match was great. It was fine. No one's interested in Luger at this point in time, really. Scott Hall is doing a lot of heel shenanigans, and like the point of the match is that Scott Hall and the NWO have been beating up referees and talent.
Right,
that's why Zbyszko's here. And Zbyszko's fine. Like, it's just like a lot of like, it's not like bad. It's just like a solid like 2. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, yeah, this was a match that happened and it was, I don't know. It was just whatever. I cannot name you a single thing that happened in this match. It's that kind of match.
I think Larry was the centerpiece here. It was like, is he going to call it down the middle or not? And then they start up with a lockup, and then they're tied up in the corner. And then like Scott Hall has the advantage, and then Larry breaks it up because they're in the ropes. And then he does the same thing for Lex. He's like, oh, he is going to call it down the middle. And it's just a lot of that for like 10 minutes or whatever.
Yeah, he throws Scott Hall out of the ring at one point.
Yeah, because Scott Hall goes for a right hand, but Larry ducks and dumps him over. And then I think that should have been a DQ at that point, but because over the top rope rules, of course.
That's also like the other, the old school territory rules. That's like also the other point about this match is that, not really point, but like a thread that's like on Nitro, especially from Tony Schiavone, is that they kept, whenever they talked about this match, Tony Schiavone really was nailing home this idea of like, the NWO cheats all the time, Larry should cheat. This idea that like Larry should do stuff and like beat down Scott Hall as well or whatever, and not play it down the middle.
It's like, but can Lex Luger not handle himself? So it's like, I don't know.
No, no.
Well, maybe not.
Because, it turns out, I guess no, because he does get outmanned.
Well, Eric Bischoff comes out at some point, because why wouldn't he?
Of course.
But then Larry knocks him off the apron. Big pop. And then Lex Luger goes for the rack on Scott Hall. But that damn 6 gets in the ring. Kick to the back of the head of Lex Luger as Eric Bischoff is distracting Larry Zbyszko. And then Scott Hall takes advantage. Hits the Razor's Edge. For the Outsider's Edge, whatever the fuck. And then gets the 1-2-3 over Lex Luger. And I'm watching this. I'm like, that is the lamest finish I've ever seen in my life. But that is not the finish because Larry.
Well, real quickly.
Please.
The kick to the head.
Great, right? He's a karate master. Educated feet.
A pure whiff.
No. He knocked him out.
The kick was so fast that the wind knocked out Lex Luger.
It's got bloom. It's like a shotgun shell.
It's got bloom.
So
pretty much, I get. Like, it's just like a whiff that leads to a really shitty finish that again doesn't really work. And then we get the reversal.
Larry wants to see the replay. He smells some funny business. You can't get one over the living legend. So he asks for the replay. He sees it. He sees that 6 got involved. He's like, that whatever Larry sounds like. He's like, we're going to restart this match. That's not what he sounds like.
Where was Charles Robinson not afforded this ability earlier?
Yeah, exactly. Like, if we're setting a precedent that we can just be NFL referees and get in the booth and look at the replay, like, let's have some red flags on these refs. But the bell rings again, restart the match. I don't even know if the bell rings, but they restart the match. Scott is pissed, of course, because he had just had it won, and now he's back in there. So him and Larry get into a shoving match. Larry shoves him right into Lex, who locks him in the rack. And then it's unclear if Scott submits.
Yeah.
Before or after 6 gets in the ring with a kick to break it up. So I'm not sure if it was a DQ finish or
in the wider shot, they cut very quickly into the close-up on the rack. But it looked like Zbyszko like almost immediately went to ring the bell, but then the bell didn't ring immediately, and then it was very confusing on what actually happened.
But ultimately, it's probably a moot point because 6 is in there. Larry will take no guff. He locks 6 in a guillotine choke. But then Eric Bischoff kick to the head of Larry Zbyszko and throws maybe a slightly better kick than Six did to Larry. Knocks him out and then steps on his chest. Razor makes a count. Eric Bischoff pins Larry Zbyszko, I guess. I don't know.
This is all leading to eventually Larry Zbyszko versus Eric Bischoff. So get excited.
Man, chills.
It does stink that like you.
Yes, it does. Moving on, we got.
It does stink that like, and I feel for you. It does stink that you are at this point in WCW history because it is only going to get worse from here, and especially like these main events. I mean, this next match will pick up the heat action a little bit more, but it's like the main event is just like, what am I to say about a stinky ass piss poo match?
That is the perfect star rating for that.
Yeah.
So this match is pretty much a better version of what the main event is in this show because we got a sudden death match. What's a sudden death match? It's a last man standing match.
Pretty much. At one point, when Roddy Piper pitches this match, he gives it the gimmick of a Piper rules match, and it describes the last man standing, basically.
Yeah, that name didn't take off, I guess.
No, he was no longer the commissioner.
Yeah, that's very true. So they took it away. But we got DDP, Diamond Dallas Page, taking on the Macho Man, Randy Savage. I mean, these two don't miss when they have matches with each other. The feud's been great. Just a old school feud of two guys that don't like each other. Macho poking fun at Kimberly, Diamond's gal, for was it Playboy she was posing in or something like that. So I think that was like what kicked it off, but then it ultimately just became about two guys that didn't like each other.
Yeah, beating each other up so much so. Remember like that one spot where Diamond hits the cutter on Savage on the outside on the pavement, and Savage sells it like he actually died.
They had to stretcher him out.
Yeah, he was frozen. He sold it like he was like rigor mortis set in immediately.
Love it. I mean, nowadays that'd just be a transition move, and now it's just, they killed him.
Mm-hmm.
They killed him. Had to scrape him off the floor.
Mm-hmm.
But then he got his. He returned the favor, Macho Man did, with the NWO. They beat up on DDP, on Nitro, several elbows to Dallas, and now we got the debut of this look that I believe would make a few returns. The denim jeans and ribs tape.
Mm-hmm.
DDP coming out street clothes for this street fight-esque match.
Yeah, as it should be.
Against Macho Man, which, given what happens later in this show, maybe the last match of Prime Macho Man. I don't know if this is Prime Macho Man, but
he's not bad. I mean, I think for what he's doing, it's well worked.
Sure, yeah. Again, another match that it's a lot of brawling.
Yeah,
similar to Flair and Perfect. I feel like this one had a few more layers to it. Fighting to the stage,
breaking the stage.
The tombstones getting broken over each other. I think there's a casket that explodes when somebody gets slammed on it.
Yeah, may or may not be made of styrofoam.
Nope, it's solid oak, I believe.
Styro oak, of course. My mistake.
Come on now. That's not what Dusty told me. It was pure plunder, baby. We called them utensils. They use now the utensils out there. Like, what are you talking about, Dusty? Dude, Macho Man takes a camera, which always stresses me out because I don't know, maybe they're not real cameras, but it's like those are expensive pieces of equipment. Like you're just going to use it as a weapon.
I would have imagined that it wouldn't have stressed you out, but you would have like gotten a good amount of joy of seeing someone break a camera. Like I imagine you like right now you almost had jealousy in your heart.
Well, hey, it's been cooperating for a little bit.
It has. I might have just jinxed it, but for the past hour or so, it has done doing well.
Next time it happens, I'm giving an upkick to it like DDP did here. So yeah, a lot of plunder, a lot of weaponry. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me, dude? God. That is the timing on that. That is absolutely absurd. You are just the biggest piece of shit I've ever met in my life.
What are the freaking odds?
Guz, I'm breaking it. Guz.
What are the odds that happened? You could not have planned that any better. Oh my God.
Man, I got too confident with the camera.
The camera just immediately dies. It freaking. Oh my God, that ruled. Oh, that ruled so much.
Cannon, I'm coming to your headquarters and giving you diamond cutters all around because, man.
Ruled so much.
I don't know. Talk about the match or something. I don't know.
The match was good. It was a nice brawl, nice like extreme rules stuff. You know, brawl on the outside, chair stuff. I like the business with the cameraman. What was it, Jackie Crockett, in destroying the camera. You know, I think it. You know, it didn't quite. I think get over the hump. It was like, you know, a nice piece of business. It was a nice reprieve from the rest of the show. Up to this point, I guess outside Guerrero and Mysterio, you know, nice little bit. There was the point where Miss Elizabeth tries to get involved, and then DDP's wife, I always forget her name,
Kimberly,
yes. Came out, dragged Elizabeth out by her hair. You know, it's just like a nice solid bits of business that, like, you know, it's like, yeah, this is a nice little match. There was the fake Sting that attacked DDP, that was said to be Hulk Hogan, which was very strange and weird.
Well, it's so the fake Sting comes out, which I guess it leads to the finish because the ribs have been working. DDP's out there with tape, you know, coming out for the match, and then Macho Man works the ribs, you know, throwing him into the barricades, the elbows, a few elbows he hits. And then at some point, a fake Sting comes out. Commentary, by the way, is done selling. Like, is that Sting?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's another fucking dumb fake Sting, whatever.
Yeah.
Comes out, saunters to the ring, hits DDP in the ribs with the bat.
Immediately.
And then walks out.
Yeah.
And then that's the finish. DDP cannot get up at the count of 10 due to that, which makes sense. You know, it's a bat shot to the injured body part. Mm-hmm. Sure. It was a very anticlimactic way to execute it, I would say, which 100%. Leads me to believe maybe it was Hulk Hogan.
100%.
But it's fun because they didn't say it was Hogan when he first came out. It was like 5 minutes after the match ended. And it was like, you know what? I think he was wearing Hogan's boots.
Yeah.
Which
commentary was supposed to set up something, but they had nothing to set that up, and so they just had to bring it up later.
And I believe this fake Sting was wearing the paint. No, or was it a mask?
I don't know. I think it was a mask.
He's not going to wipe all the paint off, but if it was a mask, I guess it's more plausible.
I think it was a mask.
But whatever. Macho Man gets the win here under dubious circumstances. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like you said, good piece of business here. Some good, you know, close calls, getting up at 9.99. Diamond cutters, elbows, Liz with the glass plate, it looked like, to DDP's head. So
no, not to the DDP's head, but was it Liz or to the referee?
Was it the referee? Yeah.
Yeah. That's like Kirkpatrick, I think, was the referee.
Oh, that's right. And then she choked DDP with the cord. So
the referee takes a bump, he goes to the back, new referee comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, it was a nice little schmaz brawl bit. It was not like, unlike the main event, a bunch of things happened, but they all had weight to them.
There was intensity to it.
Exactly. Was it like, you know, the best thing ever? No, but it was like something that, like, there was meaning, there was intensity. You could see things made sense. The layout of the match made sense. You know, Savage is a good worker. DDP is a good worker. Like, everything's on the come up and up here. And then you get the main event.
Yeah, there's no way we could ruin this momentum, but we do. We got the main event of this program, a non-title steel cage match. Rowdy Roddy Piper versus Hollywood Hulk Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's a lot of build up to this, I guess. I mean, Piper beat Hogan at, I think it was Super Brawl. It was very early in the year. Another non-title match for whatever reason. Piper doesn't want the title, I guess. But he does because he stole the title, but he doesn't want to actually win the title. It's a whole thing. Piper beat Hogan earlier in the year, and I think he lost the title match Then he was off TV for a while, or he feuded with Flair in there somewhere. And then he was off TV for a while. Now he's back as the acting commissioner when J.J. Dillon was attacked, and he had to get off TV for a little bit. But now it's not about the title. It's just about it's a blood feud, whatever, I guess.
Yeah.
Piper Hogan, Steel Cage. 1997, by the way, these two. Main event of a pay-per-view. And Piper, again, stole the WCW or the NWO World Heavyweight title. Still has it all painted on the belt. So Piper comes out with the title, and my first thought is, man, it's a crime he never actually won it. But comes out here, and then he comes out to this cage. I mean, do we want to just talk about this cage for a second?
Okay. Maybe this is a hot take.
Tell me.
It is insanely high, but I do like these cages. I do like the square cages that aren't like the fancy ones that we have now.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, I could agree with that.
They're easier to see stuff. I imagine they're easier to see in live action.
Yeah. The
height makes it feels like it's a Punjabi prison.
I wrote in here, it's a square Punjabi prison. That's what it felt like.
It's way too tall, which I think it was actually shoot 20 feet tall, which just makes the savage bump in the match later insane.
Yes, very rickety too when they're climbing.
Very
rickety, shaking back and
very
forth.
Rickety. I like the look of the cage. It's just this is too much. It feels like, I was speaking of AEW Dynamite. I was present at the first one in Georgia in State Farm, where it was the Cody Rhodes steel cage match. When Cody did the moonsault, and he immediately regretted it and always talked about how they built it way too tall. And he was like, I don't know why we did that. He did his own Macho Man moment. It was, I like the steel cage just because it's easier to see stuff, but it is so janky.
Yeah, I mean, I hear where you're coming from. I personally like a smaller cage, both with just cage matches and Hell in a Cell matches, just because I feel like that gives the impression more of a suffocating, you're trapped type of deal, whereas this kind of feels like, and also, by the way, this is a Hell in a Cell style, there's room around the ring. There's no roof, but there's room around the ring. So really, by the way, and also the door is unlocked. Yes. You just walk out. So it's what's the point of this goddamn cage?
This is fully just a Hell in a Cell match with no lid, and then the door is just open. You can just walk out, and that's it. Part of the conversation that they're having early in the show is that he doesn't have to worry about Sting because he's trapped in the steel cage, and then that when it comes to the actual match, it's not a concern at all because you can just leave.
And by the way, how do you win this match? There's no referee in the ring, and apparently you don't win by escaping.
No, that's a great point. What was the finish of this match, actually? Because now I think about it, what was the finish?
I don't think commentary knew either. I think they were under the impression of if you escape, you win.
Yeah.
So, whatever. The match opens, they're brawling around the ring. There's not a lot of much happening. I do like Roddy Piper with the casual eye pokes and the being a heel, but in a babyface way.
Classic
some fun stuff. Hogan climbing the cage to try to get out, but Roddy low blowing him to stop. So he's still the same guy that he's always been. So there's some good stuff in the beginning, but then they fight their way to the outside through the door that's unlocked.
Of course.
And it's at this point, Tony Schiavone's like, oh, well, they both went out at the same time, so the match isn't over. Because I think he's still trying to figure out how you win. They fight to the outside, which, again, just gets rid of the purpose of a cage match. But then Hogan he crotches Roddy on the barricade. He tries to leave, Hogan does. But he's stopped by Sting. Or is it? No, it's not. So
the actual Sting signed that paper. He's busy cleaning up the garbage of the arena.
He's selling popcorn, I think.
Selling popcorn.
So Hogan runs back to the ring, or Roddy brings him back, and they just do shit for a little bit. I don't know. It didn't feel like there's really any drama in this match.
Can I? Yeah. So two things. One, like I said about the Savage, Page match is that match felt like, there were things made sense. There was weight to stuff. This just felt like the classic phrase of a whole lot of nothing.
Right.
A bunch of stuff is happening in this match, yet all of it immediately leaves your brain as you're watching it.
Right.
And the second bit I want to do is, can I read this writing from Dave Meltzer regarding his review of the match?
Please.
Because this is when Dave used to like give his thoughts and opinions and everything, and now I feel like he's scared sometimes. He's going to get dunked on by people.
Sure,
but this is like so good. This is his sentence. This match was a slow motion battle of should be extinct dinosaurs who can come across great on Nitro doing interviews, but when they were put in the ring with all the hype, the lack of heat showed they are having a hard time fooling the public that they can still wrestle.
Yeah, I mean,
nothing sums up that match more than that quote. They can still talk. Obviously, they can still talk, but they can no longer wrestle. And there's just so much shit that's happening here, and it's so slow too that it is just a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't think they're hindered by like age. Like I feel like they're moving at a pace that they've always moved at.
Sure.
I feel like like to your point, there's this like
if anything, like maybe a little slower, But
yeah, maybe a little bit. But Hogan's being the chicken shit, so it adds a bit of a different. I don't know.
Yeah, let me see if I can try to find out how old these guys were.
I bet you younger than you think.
I bet as well.
I bet you they're both in their 40s.
That is probably true. But go ahead. I'm gonna do some math.
No, yeah, please. But yeah, it was just, and also to the point, like we've already seen so many walk and brawl matches in this show already. So it's like we've already seen better versions of this match, just without a cage. And also, by the way, there's no title on the line, so who gives a shit who wins?
Yep.
We got the match with Sting already announced, I think, at least alluded to. So we got that on the horizon. So like, who cares about Piper at this point? We've already done this thing earlier in this year.
Yep. Multiple times, I want to say, during the year.
Yes, he escaped from Alcatraz. Like we did the whole thing.
Piper is 42, Hogan's 43.
I mean, that's wild. That's crazy. I mean, still, I guess they're in good shape aesthetically, I suppose. Maybe.
Who is 40? Let me look up 40-year-old wrestlers. Let's see. Who is currently 43 years old? That'll be our comp here. Eddie Kingston, Damian Priest, LA Knight. Who are some other Natty Neidhart, Chris Sabin, Naito, Jeff Cobb, JC Mateo. How can we forget? Yeah, I mean Rocky Romero, Shingo Takagi. Is no one wrestling like Shingo Takagi out here? God damn.
Man, it could have been Hogan versus Shingo, but maybe in another universe. But yeah, and there's a point in this match where Hogan hits like a big belt shot to Roddy and then hits the leg drop, and then the crowd doesn't react at all, which is a testament to like how it's been built, this match.
That was a thing I picked up on Nitros, where NWO is still very over, but Hogan isn't really as over. Like
people like the idea of the NWO, not as much the execution of it, I feel like.
Yeah, and I think obviously since Hogan was the top dog in that faction, like a lot of that was focused on Hogan. Like they were interested in the group, but they didn't care for Hogan at this point anymore.
Oh yeah,
which obviously is extremely telling how Nitro begins to fall apart. Or WCW rather.
We're definitely getting there. But then Macho Man comes out. This
runs past the Stings.
That I knew. Yeah. I think there was only one, maybe two Stings out there.
There was two Stings for sure, because one just kept looking straight, and the other one was like, "Oh, who was that?" It just like turned around. I was like, "What the heck was that?"
By the way, they did that on Nitro with all the Stings popping out from the crowd, coming down the aisle, out behind the back, but so they're just doing it again. So it's like, I don't know, diminishing returns on that part. But Macho comes out. He wants to get in the ring and help Hulk Hogan. Do I go in the ring through the door that's unlocked? I don't think so. Maybe we climb this 25-foot tall cage, leap over the floor into the ring.
Insane thing to do.
Not an elbow drop where you're at least kind of bracing with your hip or whatever.
Yeah.
Just a standing double axe handle off the top rope.
He Adam Copeland's off the top of the cage.
But I guess the idea was that he was going to land on his feet, which
I don't
Sherry
know.
Martel did it though a few years ago, but it was a shorter cage, I believe.
Yeah.
So
yeah, this cage was insanely tall. I don't know what he was trying to do. A whole lot of flying nothing, but like the fact that he did it, I'll give him props for that. And like, look, he missed, but like he got pretty close for what he was trying to do, I guess.
I mean, I guess he got there. He just the landing. He like
it was anticlimactic. It really is what it was.
I think he just like regretted it as soon as he jumped off. He's like, oh no, but he couldn't,
That's certainly plausible.
And I didn't even notice, apparently, because he was obviously Hogan was holding Piper for Macho to hit Piper, but Macho hits Hogan, which I didn't even really register as I was watching this until commentary mentioned it. And that pretty much leads to the finish, I believe, because then Piper then takes advantage of this, locks in the sleeper onto Hulk Hogan, and Hogan passes out. Piper beats him again. But doesn't win the title again, because again, for the second time on pay-per-view this year, it's a non-title match that Piper beats Hogan. Is there any more worthless title than this fucking WCW heavyweight champion?
Exactly. It is it is. I can't even put it in the words. It is what, like a Trojan horse. It's, not seeing the forest through the trees. It's just this idea of like, it's this false idol, I guess. Like nothing matters. There's no actual substance behind the top champion of your company.
I mean, he's been champion. He lost it to Luger for a couple days.
Yeah.
But he's been champion for a year and a half, I think, at least.
Yeah.
Outside of when he lost it for a week, and he's defended it probably less than 10 times.
And whenever he loses, it's in non-title matches.
And he loses all the time, so it's like, am I threatened by you? Or
it's like I said, it's this false idol. It's a guy that's like that. It is this guy that is a loser, but he just keeps holding the belt because he's a politician. Huh?
Oh no, not my Terry Bollea. That's not who I know him as. But yeah, so Piper wins, but then the NWO gangs up on him. They handcuff Piper to the cage.
Crucifixion style.
Yes, hands out. Hogan and Hogan. One of the fake stings was in there, I guess, on behalf of Piper. I guess he was a good fake sting.
Yeah.
But then Hogan like shit cans him, but his mask flies off in the process, and then Hogan takes his mask, puts it on, beats up Piper. I think he whips him with his belt or some shit.
Very funny looking, though. Very funny.
And then a fan comes in.
Yes.
Climbs the cage with Sting face paint on. So we're led to believe he is a Sting fan. He's coming to the aid of Piper, but he is quickly thwarted.
Did you buy this as a real fan at all?
No.
Yeah. It is like, it's such an obvious plant.
Camera was right on him as soon as he was climbing that cage.
As soon as he started climbing the cage, they don't actually break up anything. They're just beating him up once he gets in.
And he's selling the punches.
The punches are worked, like the classic Hogan worked punches.
Hogan punches, yeah.
It's just like, it's nothing about it is working. It is the Mongo Alex Wright match where it's just like, kind of a crap. It's just kind of this crappy match that then has this post-match angle that just doesn't really work, and it just doesn't quite get there. And you're like left with what am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah. NW wins. LOL. Basically, is the. I mean, they didn't, but they did. I guess
they did and they didn't, and that's NWO's story. I feel like.
Yeah. But yeah. So weird kind of ending to this show. It just kind of peters out, which. Part of me likes the kind of chaotic nature of the fan getting in there and just all of the nonsense, but
so I want to ask you that then. Let's talk about it. You mentioned at the top about the like production style. Like we talked a little bit of how like we both sort of enjoy when it does get chaotic, and this was obviously the intention was to do like a work shoot chaotic fan plant bit here.
Mm-hmm.
Why did this chaos not work? Did it just feel authentic, like inauthentic?
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
I just don't think the foundation in which this happened was good. So therefore, it's like, putting some tasty icing on a piece of poop. Like I'm not gonna want to eat it.
Oh, hold on. Let's not put that icing.
I'm not gonna want to eat it. Man, I'm not speaking for everybody in the room. Like a Ryan McMahon over here, but
no, don't. I don't. In 2025, I don't want to be associated with that.
Oh, it's great.
God damn, awful. No, refuse. Refuse.
I mean,
but yeah, no, I agree. Like, I think that like the inauthenticness of the just everything surrounding Hogan, I imagine as well. The NWO, the fact that like it's over, but Hogan's not really over. Like the people, I think there's also like, not to get into many of my tirades that you can certainly listen to on Ring Post Radio.
Hey, you gotta pay for that.
No, it's free. You can listen to Ring Post Radio every Tuesday now. It used to be Sundays, now it's Tuesdays.
You gotta pay for the plug, is what I'm saying.
My apologies. My apologies. But
Rants,
like
tirades.
I think it's like this thing that is a thing that is currently happening in our society with like the use of AI that is like a wrestling fan thing that I think that because I was talking to my friends about like what are the case uses and what can like because I used to work in the film industry and all these sort of things and there's this idea of that AI will eventually take it all over and all this sort of stuff and I'm like to me it is this thing of I think the peak of it will be fully replacing commercials with full AI nonsense. And then TV, I can't imagine. Movies, definitely, I can't imagine really taking it over in any substantial way because I think it's this innate. It's almost like the uncanny valley as well when it comes to like computer generated images. It's this thing that I think that whatever evolutionary tick that is in our brains and systems recognizes inauthentic worked stuff when it comes to uncanny valley, AI. For the most part, I think for the most part, people can tell the difference between AI and real stuff. But like when it comes to like this stuff, is people can see the inauthenticness in something because I think there's probably I did read. I didn't read a book. I listened to a podcast that read a book about that like is this thing of like we innately recognize other human like qualities even if it's like a subconscious unconscious thing because it's like what we as when we were evolutionarily like developing that we helped protect us, keep us safe. The fact that like we lived with monkeys and apes that like evolutionarily we are able to tell the difference between monkeys and apes kept us safe. And how this all goes back to this horrendous main event of Halloween Havoc 1997.
A couple monkeys fighting in here, huh?
Is that this is a couple monkeys fighting up in here, throwing shit at each other. And I think just like people can tell when something is not on the level. And part of wrestling is for you be able to find the way to make us forget that.
To immerse yourself in it.
The magic is that evolutionary thing to being convinced of like, oh no, this is real. And it's very hard to do that. And WCW will continue to fail at this as many times as they'll try and attempt it. But it's just something that like, unless you nail it, it's always going to come off hokey and bad.
Yeah, especially in this era where it's so heavy on the quote unquote realism elements of it with on wrestling across the board. So it is interesting watching in real time them like this balancing act of like trying to implement realistic elements into the product, but ultimately it's still pro wrestling, which is very goofy at the foundation of it, especially when it's somebody like Hogan who's very cartoony in everything he does. So I think maybe Hogan and being involved with it kind of hindered it. But I don't know. Yeah, I think it was just a lot of.
It was a whole lot of nothing. Is what it was.
Whole lot of nothing. But I'll tell you what is not a whole lot of nothing. Ahmed Johnson. So that brings us into the next portion of the podcast.
He's a whole lot of arm pads and knee pads.
Oh man, there's nothing there. But
he's like the
appreciate you once again.
He's a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Burt Marshmallow. But yeah, appreciate you, Ryan, coming on on the program here. I like Burt Marshmallows, but always a pleasure having you on here. Talk a little old school or wrestling.
Of course, always happy to come back.
Where can everybody find your beautiful voice, listen to your beautiful voice, and lick you on the cheek and tickle your belly button?
Well, there's my OnlyFans, of course, to do those latter things.
In the description, folks.
No. So I have 2 podcasts. One of which as I on here, and I'm a professional, I keep trying to tease throughout the show. Ring Post Radio is a show I do with Scott Edwards. Every Tuesdays now. We just actually, I don't know exactly when this is coming out, but we just turned into
next Wednesday.
Perfect. That's just turned into a Tuesday show. So go to the Count Out Wrestling YouTube channel or wherever you find podcasts. Listen to Ring Post Radio. We discuss wrestling around the globe. We're getting to the year end, so we're going to start having a lot more like a year retrospective discussions about wrestling. Silently, our podcast has become about movies and televisions because the industry is collapsing, and somehow it just barely affects wrestling, kind of. So there's that. There's also The Ballot, where it is my podcast where I discuss new people that hop on to new nominees, I guess, that hop onto the Wrestling Observer Newsletter Hall of Fame ballot every year. I'm entering my 3rd year of doing the show, 3rd season, the 2026 season, where we have a plethora of new people, interesting names from around the globe, and a couple of people that you have certainly heard of. Kyle's been on the show before. Yes. Go check out his episode. We had a great season last year as well. There's what's kind of great about it is that to a certain degree, the content is evergreen, because a lot of these careers are, done and dusted. There's a legitimately great episode piece that we did that was sort of a collage of audio regarding Sabu. That was great. That was the most highly listened to, well-regarded episode from last season. And that was a great piece if you want to listen to sort of, the reactions to Sabu passing and then sort of the whether or not this guy is a Hall of Famer. And if I recall correctly, Kyle, you submitted a piece.
I sure did.
And a bunch of other people submitted pieces from Voices of Wrestling, from just various other sites on the internet. I'm trying to remember specifically other people on there. It's been 6 months since that episode, but a lot of great stuff on there. New seasons out this year. We're talking about various names like Gunther, Kenta, Tam Nakano from Stardom, but then also a bunch of people you've never heard of, like Le Petit Prince from France, or Coliseo Colasetti from Mexico, or Andreas Lambrakis from Greece. So you're just
making all these names up, I think.
Exactly right. It's a show where we're going to talk about the potential Hall of Famer level careers of these wrestlers, and a way for you to learn so much about the world of professional wrestling that you might not even think about, not even know about. Most people probably know nothing about 1950s French catch wrestling. Well, guess what? You'll certainly learn something from the sheer amount of great guests we've had on the ballot.
I mean, you're assuming. I mean, most of my audience are 80-year-old French people. So
my apologies.
Big Rene Dupree podcast.
Oh boy, your Spotify Wrapped come out, and it was all of your people listened to the
Cafe de Rene.
Cafe Rene.
It's just 5 episodes that are my top songs. He stinks. Did you
have any thoughts about people that went into the Hall of Fame? I don't know if you saw who went in for the 2025 class. Did you have any thoughts about those people?
I don't think I saw it.
I can pull it up here.
Yeah, I can also pull it up too.
So the 2025 cast, there's a bunch of people that I'm sure you have no idea who it is because I barely know who they are. Raul Paoli, who is a promoter in French Catch. Bobby Bruns. So this is the rest of the 2025 cast. Bobby Bruns, Sabu, Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, Darrell Dixon, Grand Hamada, and Spiros Arion. So I'm sure the people that you have heard of, CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, and Sabu, possibly Grand Hamada. I don't know.
Grand Hamada. What do I know him for? I think he made an appearance in TNA, I believe.
Ooh, maybe.
Grand Hamada. I've definitely heard that name.
He might have popped up in ECW as well.
That could be. Let's see here. If he did, it was very brief, according to his Wikipedia.
Yeah, he mainly worked in Japan and Mexico. He was well known as like the grandfather of the Puro Lisu. I can never pronounce the word.
Puro. I never knew how it was pronounced.
The Lucha Puro Russo. Puro. Oh God, people are gonna kill
I've
me.
only seen it typed out. I've never heard anybody say it.
But he's like he's the innovator, the creator of that, basically. Yeah, he was in ECW in 97 and 98 for a couple matches.
Okay, and he did pop up in TNA.
Oh, he did pop up in TNA.
I guess it wasn't prominent enough.
No, that's totally makes sense.
Well, next time you're on here, we'll do a Grand Hamada TNA retrospective. I think that'll be a big episode.
Very quick. But yeah, CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, Sabu, the people that your audience probably know a lot about, they all went into the Hall of Fame. They're officially Hall of Famers. So
yeah,
it was exciting to hear about that.
I'm surprised Punk wasn't already in.
He was on for a while, and I think what kind of kept him off was like him.
Oh, can you get taken off?
Yeah, you could fall off if you're on for 15 years. That's like the Baseball Hall of Fame, I think, where it's like if you're on for 15 years and you don't get over 50%, you can fall off. Or if you just get under 10%. Punk was on. Punk did solid enough. He was obviously gone and out of wrestling for several years. And then once he came back, that's what really jumped him up a bunch. Because plus it was like there was also a lot of other like big names that were pumping up, and so just Punk wouldn't get enough voting share. And then once he came back and he was just like big star, massive ratings draw, great worker. It was like, oh yeah, okay. Now that Roman's out, Roman's in, okay, we can throw Punk in now.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, long overdue, I would say.
Agreed.
Shout out to those guys. Hamada, Suzuki, who's the French guy? No, the French guy wasn't on there.
Raul Paoli. He's a French guy.
Raul Paoli.
Yes, the basically like the French promoter of those days. But yeah,
why don't you take us out with your best Raul Paoli impression?
Hello everybody. My name is Raul Paoli. I went
such an asshole.
I went to the cafe. I went to the cafe Rene, Cafe Rene, and I ordered a croissant. How's that?
Once again, thank you to Rye Guy from the Count Out Wrestling Podcast for joining me today. Always a good old time with my boy Ryan. Go check out his podcast. All of this stuff in the description. All of my stuff in the description. All of Bartholomew's stuff is upcoming. It's your one goddamn job, all right? You ready? Bartholomew, hit that tasty jingle, you son of a bitch. WCW, ECW, WWF, who's the hardest promotion? Eric or Vince or Paulie? I think we can agree, though. Heck Myers is the shit. Alrighty then. The hardest promotion battle of 1997 continues. WWF versus WCW versus ECW. Again, just to recap, WCW has the lead here with 29 points, ECW with 20, WWF with 9 points. And you might be asking yourself, hardest part of the ring, what do these points mean? Why do I give a turkey? Well, let me tell you this. You see that Intercontinental Championship behind me? That is because WWF was hardest in 1996. That's right, the winner, whoever is hardest in 1997, will earn themselves a purchase of a championship belt of that respective company. WCW in the lead here, so we might have a big gold coming up here. Maybe the women's cruiserweight championship. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But these points are developed and calculated based on the best and the worst that we've seen this year, pay-per-view grades, in-ring, out-of-ring characters, storylines, matches, blah, 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 ding, ding, dong. That's right. That's right. I know French. But yes, big stakes. Let's get into it, shall we? But the first thing, but by the way, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm sharing my screen so you can follow along visually. And if you're listening on audio, I will walk you through it as well. Don't you worry. Don't you worry, Susan. But the first thing we got to do is grade this show from a scale of 0 to 100. What are we thinking for Halloween Havoc, gang? Very interesting one. My heart says it's like in the 70s, just out the gate. Because it's like a lot of, when I grade these shows, a lot of the criteria, or a lot of like what drives the grade for me, is did I have a good time watching it? Not so much like the nuts and bolts of it, like how many good matches, how many stars, yada yada yada. It's like, was it a pleasant experience watching? Did I have fun? Because ultimately that's what wrestling. We get into all of the analysis and all the other hokey bullshit in wrestling. Did you have fun? Yes. Well, then they succeeded. Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. I had fun, for better or worse, watching Halloween Havoc. And Ray and Eddie alone makes this deserve a decent grade, at least like a C grade. Everything else, let's see here. Let's see. Where do my fingers go? Sometimes you just got to put your fingers over the keyboard and see what numbers it kind of magnates to. What is the verb for like magnetic pull? It just pulls me in. I don't know. 75? Question mark? Let me put that on my tongue and see how it tastes. 75 for Halloween Havoc. Fall Brawl got a 76. Was this better or worse than Fall Brawl? Better question is, what the fuck happened on Fall Brawl? Let me pull up the old cage match ski just to refresh Daddy's memory here. 1997 cage match. Bang, bang, boom. Card. Eddie Jericho. That was good. Alex Wright, Ultimo Dragon, Dean Jarrett. Okay, yeah, this is a pretty good show. Mortis and Wrath versus Faces of Fear, DDP, Luger versus Macho Man and Scott Hall. War Games. Okay, this is a pretty good show. You know what I'm thinking, man? It's close. It's either like one below Fall Brawl or one above. I think just based on how Fall Brawl, I think, was more consistently good throughout, I'm going to give Fall Brawl the edge, but I think Halloween Havoc's right there. So I think 75 is fair. I think a 75 for Halloween Havoc is fair. And what we do now, we refresh this and we look at which promotion has the highest average grade for their shows. Coming into this, ECW had the highest average grade. Coming out of this, ECW still has the highest average grade, but we got WCW on their tail. So ECW has an average grade of 73.14. WCW has an average grade of 71.30. And WWF has an average grade of 64.60. So therefore, ECW maintains those points here. So we go back to the overall scoreboard. Best pay-per-views / special events. Highest average score. ECW maintains those 15 points. So no change to the scoreboard yet. Let's progress on here. Best TV product, WCW is what we're tracking. WCW is where we're going to leave it. Nitro is a very good show. It's a fun show. It's an engaging show. WWF, Raw is a bit flat. ECW is kind of just inconsistent. It's a lot of times just highlight packages, et cetera, et cetera. Some good promos and stuff, but just not a lot of meat on the bone with the ECW TV show. So yeah. Best TV, WCW maintains those 15 points. Best in-ring product, again, we are tracking WCW as the best, and I think we are going to leave it there. Also, best out-of-ring, WCW we're tracking. WCW, they're trying shit. You know what I mean? That they got a lot of stories going on. Not all of them are good, particularly. But the NWO, as much as we want to poo-poo it sometimes, like it's still hot at this point. You look at the crowd, Fans are rabid for them. You got the Goldberg storyline kicking off. You got, the Ric Flair, Kurt Hennig stuff is really good. DDP Macho Man. All of this, by the way, is good out of the ring and in the ring. Whereas WWF, yeah, you got Austin and Brett and Shawn. Everything good kind of revolves around those guys at this present time, as well as pretty much the entirety of 97. So, yeah, WCW maintains those both best in ring and out of ring. So they maintain those 20 points. So no changes to the scoreboard yet. But here's where it gets spicy, ladies and gentlemen. Here is where we get a little tricky here. So we move on to the best section. All of these are the best of 1997. Currently, we are tracking the best match of 1997 as Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania 13. The question here, everybody, ultimately, this might decide this criteria, ultimately at the end of the year. What match is better? Hart versus Austin at WrestleMania or Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero from Halloween Havoc 1997? I feel like if I asked 100 people, I'd probably get 50 answers and one choice and 50 answers and one choice. You could really go either way. Because both were mechanically good in ring, also had good stories coming into it, and executed those stories beautifully between those ropes, between the bells. Damn, dude. Here's the thing. Here's my thinking, right? Honestly, when I'm going to be honest with you guys, my full heart came into this. I was expecting to leave it as Bret and Austin. Because I think Bret Hart and Steve Austin had a touch more intensity and more star power. The star power being the main thing, because Austin was on the come up. Bret Hart was transitioning into, a different character. You just had a beautiful kind of meeting at this kind of fork in the road between these two guys. And it just created a great story out of that explosion of that collision. In addition to the match itself, the intensity, the blood, the finish, it's WrestleMania. A lot went into making that match great. Ray and Eddie, man, innovative. We spoke about it ad nauseum. It would be a good match in 2025. Like, that's how smooth and athletically impressive. And one might think like, oh yeah, they're guys doing flips, but that's all it was. No, it was two strong characters as well. A good story told through it. God damn, dude. I don't know. This might be one where we get to the finale and I might put it to an audience vote. Right now, my answer for the best of 1997, Bret Hart versus Steve Austin. I don't know. It's so close. It's so close. I think Bret and Austin just had a little bit more magnitude to it. Just a little bit more just star power, aura. Just a little bit. I think it just edges it out. But maybe we'll come back to this and change our minds. But as of this moment in time, I think Bret and Austin takes it still. So no change there. WWF holds on to those 5 points. Barely holds on to those 5 points. Wrestler of the Year, we are tracking Stone Cold. We're also tracking Stone Cold as the character / storyline of the year. Part of me is wondering, for Wrestler of the Year, do we throw Eddie or Ray in there? Maybe? It's a great question. Because here's the thing, Steve Austin breaks his neck in August and doesn't have any At least from what I understand, he doesn't really have any like worthwhile matches from that point on in 1997. Yeah, his catalog up to that point was very good. Obviously, the Brett match, but he had a really good match with Taker at one of the In Your Houses. The match with Owen at SummerSlam was very good. The Fatal 4-Way early in the year, or what was it called? Final Four. The Royal Rumble. But Ray and Eddie got a pretty good catalog in them. I feel like Ray had a much stronger 96 than 97. I feel like up to this point, obviously excluding the Eddie match, I feel like Ray hasn't done a whole lot. He's been just kind of fucking around with Conan and Prince Iaukea. There's probably a few good matches in there, but I still think Ray's 97 was as strong as 96. Eddie has had a sneaky, I would say I'd probably be more inclined to put Eddie Guerrero as Wrestler of the Year over Rey Mysterio. Both the Halloween Havoc match, the match with Jericho at Fall Brawl, the ladder match, it sold out. You know what? I think, do we go Eddie? You know what, man? Fuck it. We're going to go Eddie Guerrero. We're doing it. I just don't like seeing Stone Cold having the monopoly on both of those criteria also. But I think Eddie Guerrero, ultimately, I don't know if I spelled Guerrero right, but but here we go. WCW steals 5 points from WWF. The rich taken from the poor. WCW already in the lead. WWF was in last place. And now that discrepancy has been extended here, unfortunately, for the World Wrestling Federation. Eddie Guerrero takes over Wrestler of the Year. We will leave Stone Cold as the character / storyline of the year, though. Best segment of the year. We're tracking Jerry Lawler's debut at WrestlePalooza, the ECW event earlier in the year. Any segments since then? Nothing really that jumps out to me. I feel like we're gonna leave it here as Jerry Lawler. WCW, there's some Sting bullshit. There's some, nothing really. I mean, there's been some good stuff with Stone Cold, but nothing that I would mark as like the best of the year. Unless I'm forgetting again. If I'm forgetting anything, guys, if I'm overlooking anything, if you disagree with anything, sound off in the comments, whether it's on YouTube, Spotify, what have you. Join the Discord, let me know. But I think we're going to leave it as WrestlePalooza here for a segment of the year. So ECW keeps those 5 points. Worst. So now we move on to the worst of the year. Worst match of the year. We are tracking the WWF Bad Blood Flag match as the worst. Anything on this show rival that in terms of not being good? I don't think so. No, not even close. So WWF keeps those -3 points. Worst wrestler of the year. We are tracking Prince Iaukea. Again, I say it every time. We haven't seen the Prince in a while. So ultimately, like at some point, it's like, yeah, what you did was shitty, but it wasn't that impactful. So was it the shittiest? I don't know. Who else would be worst of the year? Nothing. I mean, anyone from WWF? Trying to think. You could do like a Savio Vega. You could do like the Truth Commission. Man, suck me dry. I don't know. I feel like there's somebody from WWF that you could throw into this. Not that they need more negative points, but well, we'll leave it as Prince Iaukea from now. I think that's going to be a big one that we kind of, in the finale where we review the entire year. Maybe someone else comes up. Nobody else really comes to mind for worst of the year. So WCW and Prince Iaukea maintain those -3 points. Worst character / storyline of the year. We're tracking the Honky Tonk Man, Billy Gunn, Jesse James situation. I will say we have reached the point in the timeline where the Rockabilly has turned on the Honky Tonk Man, and we have officially the birth of the New Age Outlaws. which I would bundle that in with this whole storyline. So ultimately it comes out like they have some good stuff coming out of it. I think maybe we should wait and see because I haven't really seen it with my own eyes, but I know what it results in. But in the year of 1997, is it good? Maybe that's a wait and see situation. But I have a feeling this is not going to hold by the end of the year. But what's worse? Is it Goldberg taking the Super Bowl ring from Mongo? Is it what else? There's got to be something bad, right? There's got to be. The Brian Pillman Goldust stuff was pretty bad. You know what? I think we might have to go with that, actually. Now that I think about it, we haven't really talked about it too much on the pod. I mean, we did a little bit in previous shows, but the whole Brian Pillman, beating Goldust on pay-per-view and basically winning the sexual services of Goldust's wife and him filming it in a hotel and then they're playing it on Raw. And obviously it never came to a conclusion, unfortunately, due to Pillman's passing. And then I think there's some weird stuff with Goldust coming out of it. So maybe it's just like a Goldust situation. But, we're going to do the Pillman. What do we call it? Pillman Cucks Goldust. I think is what we'll call it. It's still WWF, so it doesn't change the score. But I feel like just for, I don't know. Just for accuracy, I think we got to capitalize Cucks. Hold on one second. Pillman Cucks Goldust. Worst of the year, I think, is what we're gonna have it as. Worst segment of the year, Miss NWO from WCW sold out. Yeah, we're gonna leave it there. So, right? We already talked about the Melanie Pillman interview, and I kind of went through that and how I feel like it wasn't ultimately as bad. It was bad, but not maybe as bad as I remember. So, all right. So, new score here, everybody. WCW pulling away with it, maintaining the lead, extending the lead. They sit at 34 points. ECW stays at 20. WWF moves back to 4 points. My goodness, we're getting towards the end there, ladies and gentlemen. We have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more shows. And all of the TV included, obviously. Look, we got Survivor Series 97 coming up soon. That's going to be a wacky one. Both just talking about the show and the effect on the scoreboard. I feel like that's going to be a pretty explosive one. World War III from WCW. We got November to Remember, which is like ECW's big show of the year. So maybe that's going to have a lot to think about. Or it's going to give us a lot to think about. We got In Your House DX. And we got Starrcade 97, which obviously it's WCW's biggest show of the year. So we got, so between Survivor Series, November to Remember, and Starrcade, we got maybe the 3 most pivotal shows for each promotion of the year coming up. So a lot to get into with the podcast. Also a lot of effect, I would assume, on this scoreboard. And then we will have the finale, of course, after that. But more to follow on that situation. But until then, I think that's about all Daddy has for you guys today. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Once again, we'll be off next week, but we will be coming back strong in 2026. I think it's actually the first. No, it's wait a minute. It might be 2 weeks we're off. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Or maybe New Year's Eve we come back. I don't know. Stay tuned. Keep abreast. Follow me on the socials. X is the main one where you'll be updated. But at least next week we'll be off. And but we'll come back strong in 2026 regardless. But until then, I'll bid you adieu. Mwah. Big smooches all over that face of yours. Mwah. Mwah. I'm hard.
Yeah. the hardest. Talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started. It's the hardest. Talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started.